Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real time news updates, in depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go to source for staying informed and connected to the world. Coffee in Tow is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House. All right. RoSolo, how are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Happy
morning.
Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy
Happy Monday. Yes, I feel my age this Monday, but happy Monday. I couldn't do the work. I couldn't wild up myself and wind up myself. I, I was moving the final items are in the
uh-huh.
big items,
Uh-huh.
and I feel old. My back is hurting me. I feel. Let me tell you something. I have never felt that kind of exhaustion and pain. I was putting the beds together, and
Uh-huh.
at one point I was crawling on the ground, going from
But
one.
why are you trying to do it all in one weekend? Pace
Because
yourself.
I can't take the confusion in the house, man. The
It doesn't
boxes and
matter.
boxes. No, man.
Pace
First
yourself.
go backwards. I did. I paced myself,
Uh-huh.
and I outpaced myself, and now I'm walking like a cripple. I
So
literally.
now is when you have to pull out the tiger balm,
I
the
did
salon
battle
patches, the icy
the
hot,
battle free
the
and the rum. And the
can't forget
rum.
the rum. Can't forget the rum.
Rum.
That's
Rum
important.
solves all problems.
Hey,
Rum solves all problems.
hey, AT. So we have to pick up AT over here
Big up yourself, 18.
on YouTube. Thank you so much for holding it down on YouTube. AT. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yes, folks. I do invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those of you listening online, remember to head on over to YouTube, Coffee in Toe, TOE, and hit the subscribe button. For those of you here with me on TikTok, the link to our YouTube channel is in the bio. Go ahead and hit that. And we have a goal. We have a goal to get at least 25 additional subscribers. Yes, yes, yes. So we have a goal of that. Help us meet that goal.
In
So
what time frame? 25 in what time? A
what
day?
about
A
that
week?
to be today now? But me say out
Okay,
for the
I
week.
like that today.
But
And if you're on TikTok, tap up the screen, tap
tap
up the screen, tap
There
up
you
the
go. There
screen.
you go. There you go. Yes. All right, let me do a quick check-in with Adesoji. Adesoji, we missed you on Friday. Good to have you here with us today. How you doing, my brother?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm in unfamiliar territory, but I have to. TikTok space is quite one getting used to,
Yes.
but
But guess what?
hopefully, yeah, hopefully. I mean, what brings you to this neck of the woods?
What brings us to this neck of the woods? You know the issues we were having on the other platform.
Yeah.
No, I have always felt overwhelmed by TikTok. I'm not gonna lie. Morning, bonjour. Thank you for coming through. If I miss you on TikTok, acknowledging you, please forgive me, as this is a live radio stream, internet. What am I saying? My tongue I'll tie up. This is a live podcast. And I'm navigating multiple screens. So please accept my apologies if I forget to or don't get to shout you out. I just want to say thank you so much. So, Adesoji, you know the issues we were having on the other play.
yeah. I'm well
Right.
aware of that.
And
But,
Thursday, I had enough on Thursday when we were all kicked out of the space. The space got shut down. I was like, that's it. Enough is enough. And I put on my big girl panties and said, to TikTok we go.
oh, okay.
We had fun on Friday. We had fun. We had fun. I think
No,
you like it here.
no. I'm sure you like it, but I'm just it would be nice for the other platform to sort out their issues
Yes.
in light of the potential shutdown of this space.
Yes.
So that's yeah. But I mean, there's the show must go on, as they say.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And one monkey don't run no show, run no circus, right? And they
exactly.
have a saying, where there is a will, there is a way. As long as you're determined,
Yes.
you'll find a way. We
Yeah.
pivot. We master the art of pivoting, and that's what
Yeah.
it is. I'm at nothing stop with. But I'm so happy to have you here. Happy to have
It's
you
a
here.
pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Yeah. It's a pleasure.
It is a pleasure indeed. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Our first article. Of course, we kick it off in the Caribbean corner. Um, there was something I wanted to do, and let me tell you something. You never. It's as though you can never find enough time to get the things done, right, RoSolo? So I feel you. I definitely feel you. I feel everything you're talking about, and yeah, time is never
Yeah,
enough. We need
yeah,
more.
I
We
couldn't
need
walk
more
into
hours.
Monday morning. I couldn't walk into Monday morning with the clutter. No way, no way,
Hmm.
no way.
Yeah.
Is she doing heavy lifting?
I
Does she?
was with, yes, heavy things.
Oh, okay. 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 Everything.
Don't let your mind go
Oh,
there, sir. Don't make your mind go there, sir.
no,
Adesoji.
she said she was lifting heavy things.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
Everything.
Adesoji. We know each other long
Everything
enough.
on
I
heavy
love my
things.
brother. I love you, read my mind.
Adesoji. Adesoji, we've been doing this long enough, right? We know
Keep your
exactly.
mind right where it is, Adesoji. I was lifting heavy things. Take it how you want to take it, yeah, Adesoji.
Don't sprain your back while you do that.
I tried my best. I know I need to go to the masseuse. Any recommendations? I need a masseuse.
All right. So let me go ahead
Off
and
of
play.
TikTok we go. Let me shut them
Let me go ahead and play this so that for everyone on TikTok will have an idea about coffee and toe. Good morning, everyone. Let's Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real time news updates, in depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go to source for staying informed and connected to the world. All right, that's TikTok. That's for TikTok. I played that for TikTok. All right. Thank you to everyone here with us on TikTok. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Morning, Gwendolyn. Morning, Tyree's son. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But okay, let's go ahead and get the show on the road. Our first article for the day comes to us out of the Caribbean corner. Grenada. Pick up your chest. Grenada firmly rejects return of deported non-nationals. Can't say I blame them. All right, so this article comes to us courtesy of CaribbeanLife.com. Grenada's cabinet has emphatically turned down a request. Emphatically, so I tell you, don't even try us, don't play with us. Anyway, they emphatically turned down a request from the Trump administration for it to accept dozens of people deported from the US to the Eastern Caribbean islands, saying it has no intention of doing so. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Joseph Andal, in Barbados for this week's Regional Leaders Summit, noted that the U.S. formally requested Grenada, but this is not being entertained in any way. Andal spoke on a public radio program on the issue this week. The request was sent to St. George's in late January. And I quote, there was a request for us to host nationals of third countries who may be deported. Unfortunately, we're not in a position to do that, and we have communicated that to the US authorities. We did get communication from them towards the end of January that they will probably be repatriating or deporting Grenadian citizens. They also spoke about the consequences of countries now wanting to receive their nationals. The minister said, however, that Grenada would have no problem accepting its nationals who are deported from the US for whatever reason during this period when mass deportations are underway. So, what is this hunger to send um, non nationals to countries they have no affiliation, no ties, nothing with? Why this hurry to get everybody out and you don't care where they go? But I hope Grenada is not alone. If every country stands up and says, no, we're not doing that, go right ahead, Adesoji.
There's going to be a State of the Union address tomorrow. Or I think it's tomorrow. So there's the need to be seen to be doing something. And so as long as we can chuck them out, we can play with numbers, massage numbers. We can say in our first week, everybody, including a man and his dog, has come to pay homage. And you saw what happened on Friday.
Mhm.
We'll also play into the kind of narrative the guy wants to portray during the State of the Union address. So all of this comes as part of the package. So the more you can be seen to, okay, I'm sending out everybody and I don't care where they're from, but I've gotten out 50,000, 4,000. You see they'll come up with some magical number.
Yeah.
And the clapping seals will just enjoy it and just go, oh, thank you very much, because for them, as long as somebody else is suffering, they don't really care about the fact what is coming down the pipe. How much is the price of a crate of eggs?
Okay, I went to the supermarket on Saturday. Yeah. Of course, eggs are hard to find, right? So I paid $10. The cheapest one I could find that was available was for $10.39. $10.39 for one dozen eggs. And it's not the large eggs, it's normal size egg.
Okay, so could you remind us what the price of those size of eggs was November 5?
I don't remember. Probably like $7 something. And so these are the good up eggs, the brown eggs.
Yeah. So this is, we're saying effectively they've added $3 in 3 months. Yeah, 3 months, because we're just in March now. Mm-hmm. So December, January, February, $3. So $1 each month. And this is supposed to be the reason why you voted for this guy.
So Tasha put in the chat, my corner store in Brooklyn sells loose eggs. If you can't buy a dozen, you buy 2.
I hear there are people, whispering.
Let me invite AZI. Hold on. Go ahead.
There are people, whispering in the corners. Psst, eggs.
Exactly. That's what we're hustling now.
Exactly.
Every day we're hustling.
I told y'all I'm selling eggs as well. I'm selling them in the 2s, 3s, whatever you need. I'm selling them like, when you used to sell dime bags, that's egg bags now. I have my Ziploc bags ready. I have a whole case of, what are you laughing about? I'm being serious. Everybody has to have a hustle. They did it. I'm finding my hustle. Baby needs some. Baby need a new bag. Dolly back from mash up from the move. Dolly's back is mashed up from the move. So Dolly needs to go to the masseuse, and Dolly's finding a way. So I am also AZI. What's up, brother?
I'm so happy to see he's working and listening. Yes. So thank you for being here, Elsie.
And you got to follow him and listen to his music. Yes. He is amazing singer and songwriter, producer. Yes. So that's my brother. So but Ozzy, broke up my shop and I sell eggs. I'm selling eggs. So anyone who needs eggs, and I have white and brown, no discrimination. I'll help you out.
I'm sorry, I'm discriminating with the eggs, strictly brown eggs over
I
here.
know.
And guess
Some
what?
people can't afford the brown.
The eggs that I'm selling match my face with all the freckles. It's the eggs with the freckles. So mine are the pedigree egg them. Yeah.
Well, you see, so everyone can't afford the pedigree. You have to, have something for everyone.
But
Sometimes
what?
we have to go back down. I just want you to understand we can't have pedigree all the time in this particular
Of course,
culture.
of course, of course. I mean,
So sometimes, others
beggars can be choosers.
beggars cannot be choosers. So anybody who needs eggs, you just lick me up, hit me up. You got white, brown, whatever you need. All
Blue.
right. I will color them for you if you'd like me to. Easter's coming up
Oh,
soon.
no, no, no. We don't have time for that. Paint some potatoes. Not eggs. Paint
We
potatoes.
can't.
Not
Listen,
eggs.
the poor kids this year, them not no Easter egg hunting. You're going potato hunting. Green eggs too. Uh-huh.
AT on YouTube says, yo, I got that dozen.
What happened to
I got you, AT. I got you.
What happened to the 100,000 eggs that was heisted in
We don't know. We don't know. But I will
it's probably crossed the border now.
probably. All right. TikTok. Don't forget to tap up the screen, get the lives. Let's get it to over 1,000 likes. Remember, we have a goal. If you are here with us on TikTok, also go to the my bio and hit the link, tap on the link for YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have a goal for this week. Our goal for this week is to get 25 new subscribers on YouTube. All right. Okay. AT needs some blue eggs for Easter. All right. So, but I stand with Grenada. And here's the thing, I would strongly encourage other leaders to do the same. You cannot bend over backwards for everything and do everything. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you, Ozzy. We hit the 1,000 like goal. So let's, the next goal, 2,000. All right. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Yeah. If every country stands up, straightens up their spine and say, no, we are only going to take what belongs to ours. At that point, the US will have no choice but to, change its MO and, what it does with people, right? You can, I'm not from Grenada, but you want to throw me to Grenada just in desperation to get me out? Mm-mm. No, 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 no. According to the minister, he said Grenada is home to all Grenadians and we're prepared and ready to welcome back any Grenadian who is repatriated, regardless of their circumstances. And I appreciate that. Grenada and the Turks and Caicos Islands were among the countries the U.S. had identified as possible destinations for deportees from third world countries. But like Grenada, they have emphatically rejected the average. Okay, good going. Meanwhile, Ghanai's President Irfan Ali was just last week forced to quash media speculation for now that Guyana and the US are actually in talks about deportees following recent meetings with top officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio. What we are discussing is our partnership with the US, and as the US unfolds its program and plans wherever Ghana can be of support, we have expressed our support, but nothing about prisons and having deportees here, he said. Okay. Okay. Let's see how that pans out, right? All right. Next up, we're still in Grenada. Grenada to establish new ministry for the blue economy. This article, courtesy of the New Today Grenada. Let me go ahead and pin the headline on YouTube. All right. So Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell has announced the formation of a new ministry of the blue economy, which will be headed by Permanent Secretary Javon Williams. The announcement was made during last Saturday's dedication ceremony for the official opening of a Fisher facility, the first of its kind on the island. During his address, Prime Minister Mitchell emphasized that fishing is a skill that must be taught, developed, and passed on. Without a dedicated fishing school on the island, he sees the new facility as an opportunity to formally engage young people in learning both the science and art of fishing. Now that we have a facility that allows for us to start meeting, it's a wonderful opportunity, particularly for us to start engaging our young men in the science and or art of learning to fish, he remarked. Mr. Mitchell, can I ask you one thing though? Can we not exclude women? Don't make it look as though it's only men, because you do have fisher women, you do have women who enjoy fishing and want it, want to get into it as a business. So let us ensure that we are also welcoming women who are desirous and interested in a career in fishing so that they too can learn the necessary skills. All right. Okay. Thank you, Lormel Skin Food. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, next up, this oil thing is the Exxon-led consortium has recovered $33.9 billion in Guyana, the VP says. This article comes to us courtesy of MSN.com. The consortium led by ExxonMobil in Guyana had recovered $33.9 billion by the end of January of the $41.1 billion it has spent at the Stabroek offshore block. That's according to the country's vice president. The Exxon-led group can take and export as much as 75% of the crude it produces as cost oil, according to the cost recovery mechanism, including in its production sharing agreement. Guyana's government is entitled to half of the remaining barrels. The figure, explained by Jagdeo, includes the consortium's spending to explore more than 30 wells at the block and the development of 6 oil and gas projects approved by the government. As the group progresses towards the approval and development of new projects, it is currently planning its 8th project, Longtail, and more costs will be added to the entire block. But the companies also are recovering at a faster rate each year due to the velocity of the production increase, according to the report. Well, let me say this. Guyana is going to be in the news for a long time to come, as long as them have oil. Um, them is the new hot girl, as we said, the new it thing on the block. Um, Hold on 1 second here, folks. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So Guyana says Venezuelan vessel entered oil block in Guyanese waters. Okay, come on, Venezuela. We're not going to do this. We're going to do things the right way. I know that there are some issues, and we thank Britain for not having set out um, clear borders. Thank you, Adesoji. Please tell hey Sean, good morning. Please tell His Majesty to that we thank him for the discrepancies that we're having here in South America. But it's
You're
okay.
welcome. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sean. Happy Monday. All right. So according to this
Happy
article,
Monday, family.
yes, according to MSN.com, via Reuters, Guyanese President Irfan Ali said on Saturday that a Venezuelan Coast Guard patrol entered Guyanese waters earlier in the day, approaching an output vessel in an offshore oil block. The neighboring countries are involved in a long running dispute about which country controls the 160,000 square kilometer or 62,000 square mile Essequibo area, which is the subject of an ongoing case at the International Court of Justice. The northwest portion of the bloc, which is close to Venezuela, has remained in force majeure as the Exxon Group has been unable to complete exploration there. During this incursion, the Venezuelan vessel approached various assets in our exclusive waters, including FPSO Prosperity, Ali said. The Venezuelan Communications Ministry did not immediately respond to request for comment. Here's the thing, Venezuela. Let us be diplomatic. Let us not be like first world countries, right? We know better, do better. Let us lead by example. There is a right way to do things. Currently, the case is in the ICJ. Let it play out there. Do not force anything. Do not be an instigator. Do not be a bully. And of course, for those of you who are not quite sure about what we're talking about, um, so according to Venezuela, 2/3 of Guyana, which is the Essequibo region, is theirs. last year was it last year, Adesoji, we did some research, and there's a possibility that might be so. Might be so.
It was last year.
It was last year, right? And this is where I say thank you, Britain, for the mess you created, right? Um, because the clear lines were not established. Or what was it again, Adesoji? Let me go back and look it up because I want to make sure I'm sharing the right information. Right. So, and pardon my typing. All right, I want to make sure. So, the Guyana Venezuela territorial dispute is an ongoing territorial dispute between Guyana and Venezuela over the Essequibo region, known as Essequibo or Guyana Essequiba in Spanish. So, why is there the Venezuelan border dispute officially began? Listen to how far back this go. 1841. How much years is that? Let me calculate it. Let me can't even count. How many years that? Years that? Hmm? From 18, we're not 2025. From 184 years, there has been this dispute. So the Venezuelan boundary dispute officially began in 1841 when the Venezuelan government protested alleged British encroachment on Venezuelan territory. In 1814, Great Britain had acquired British Guyana, which is now Guyana, by treaty with the Netherlands. Can we have a word with King Charles Adesoji? Can he step in and sort this out? Thank you. Okay. So, what is the history of the Essequibo region? It was merged with Demerara in 1812 by the British, who took control. It formally became a British colony in 1815 until Demerara Essequibo was merged with Berbice to form the colony of British Guyana in 1831. All I'm going to say is this, Venezuela, let it play out in the courts, period, full stop. We don't need no problems on this side of the world. We like it peaceful. That's how we want it to remain. Okay? All right. So next article, and we're still in Ghana. I'm going to tell us that Ghana is a new hot girl on the block. Ghana has deployed air assets following Venezuela Navy incursion at offshore oil installations. And you can't blame them for doing this. This article, courtesy of oilnow.gy. Guyana is on high alert after a Venezuelan Navy ship entered its exclusive economic zone at 7 a.m. that morning. Air assets were deployed, and Guyana is currently mobilizing its Coast Guard to be deployed to the area. Ghanai's President Irfan Ali told the nation in an address that the Venezuelan Navy vessel approached several assets in Guyana's EEZ, including the Prosperity floating production storage and offloading vessel. That asset is owned by U.S. oil major ExxonMobil, the operator of Guyana's Stabroek block. Well, fix it, Jesus. Fix it. That's all I'm going to say. Or I want to say, yes, colonialism and its effects indeed, as a definitely, indeed. We can't ignore, the repercussions, the ripple effect, the domino effect that are still plaguing us, or I should say effects that are still plaguing us today. And it's global. It is global. Just last week too, we, Adesoji, you missed this one. Last week we spoke about or I played an article from Al Jazeera about how Africa was divvied up, right? Yeah. Say that again.
1884 Berlin Conference.
Yes, the Berlin Conference.
Called by Kaiser Wilhelm. Yeah. They put a knife into the cake that is Africa, and everybody had a piece, even little Spain.
Yeah. We had Spain, Portugal, Germany, France. Who else? United States, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the United States goes to Liberia because they wanted a place where they could dump the Africans they didn't want following the, following the end of slavery. We moved them into They moved them into Liberia. And funny enough, guess who signed? Who voted? Who gave the deciding vote that Israel should become a state?
Um,
You will never guess.
no, I'm not gonna try guessing.
It was Liberia.
I have my speculation, though.
Exactly.
Should we be surprised or alarmed at that, Adesoji?
No, you should be. Just like what Brother Eze said, that's effectively neocolonialism playing itself out in modern day times. So as long as there are people amongst us or people who they are comfortable with, their interests will continue to supersede the interest of the majority.
Of
So,
course, of
and
course.
that's always how it's been. And we saw how it played out when our prime minister came over. They knew had an excitable boy in the White House, and they gave him some toys to play with. Oh, look at his signature! What a wonderful signature! The moment he said his signature, I said, "Oh God, that's King Charles's letter." He saw his signature, and he went, "Wow, this is like," and he just lost his mind. You see, he behaved himself. Oh, they want me to come to the palace? It's like, no,
Yeah.
so what is happening in with Grenada and Venezuela is effectively the old Spanish-British War in the Caribbean. Essentially, that influence is still playing itself out, and hopefully, it's not bloody because, like you said, the last thing you want is the turquoise waters of the Caribbean they turn red. So
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, thank you so much, Adesoji. Good morning, Empress. Good morning to everyone here with me on YouTube Live. Thank you to everyone listening on QMZRadio.com, JanoRadio.com, MadMusicHouse.com, and of course, thank you to everyone right here with me on TikTok Live. And don't forget to tap up the screen. Let's get the likes. We're almost at 2,000. We have a goal also to get to 25 new subscribers this week. That's our goal for this week. And the subscribers are for the YouTube channel. Click the link in the bio on TikTok to head on over to YouTube and click hit the subscribe button. All right. So we're going to keep it moving right along. Next up, Haiti. I'm so anxious to see this all come to an end. But let's hear what this one has to say. Haiti police raid gang leader's stronghold in the capital. Article courtesy of BBC.com. The government of Haiti says police have launched a large-scale operation in a shanty town controlled by powerful gang leader Jimmy Cherzier, who is widely known as Barbecue. The authorities say several gang members have been killed in the lower Delmas area of the capital Port-au-Prince. Local reports say military drones carrying explosives are being used in the operation. The prime minister praised the assault. He said it was the work of a special task force created 2 days ago to tackle insecurity. Cherizier, who is 47 years old, is the third leader of the Live Together gang, a coalition of gangs that control much of the city. It is not clear whether Kenyan police officers deployed in Haiti last year to help fight the gangs are involved in the security operation. And not to go off on a tangent, but yeah, we made it to 2,000 likes. Pick up on ourselves. Congratulate yourselves. On the city thing with the 81 trillion, is it 81 or 8 trillion? How much was it that they transferred to the person's bank account? That Citibank transferred. Look at God. Look at God. Let me tell you something. Me not promise nobody say me see 8 trillion or 80 something trillion if me I hand back over nothing. I must sit quietly. I must sit down quietly. Is that the value of the gold that they have for Haiti? Am I right? Is it Citibank? No, Citibank. Them have the gold, Haiti gold stored up. Or did they move it over to Fort Knox?
No, Citibank was started by Haiti Gold.
Ah, thank you.
Haiti started Citibank. They took the resources of Haiti to start Citibank. But I was thinking, if it's my case, right, and I get that $81 million,
it's not trillion.
$1 trillion. Well, yeah. that would be my opportunity. I would take that money. I would take whatever money I could take as quick as possible and set up a business
Yes.
upfront.
Yes.
Set up a business and make sure everything is in place as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they come back for the money, it's an interest-free loan. Not my fault. I would pay you back. So I'm not saying I'm not going to pay you back. I'm going to pay you back, but I have to make an arrangement. So I think, yeah, it's a good interest-free loan because you have to pay it back regardless. So don't think you could take it and run off. But if I use it to set up a business, then the business would work and pay it back. Good idea.
Yeah, but you see, as they says in the chat and on TikTok here, and Citibank was established with Haiti's gold, and that's not the only entity that was established with Haitian resources. And guess what? Haiti has a lot more natural minerals and resources that the world can use. And remember what I said last week, wherever you have resources that are beneficial to the or let me put it this way, let me back up. Wherever there are resources that can be exploited to support capitalism, you will find chaos and confusion. That $81 trillion, me can tell you, yes, it is in truth 81 trillion. Citigroup mistakenly credited $81 trillion to a customer's account instead of $280 before reversing the transaction hours later. Hey, you know, God knows why certain things don't happen to me. Yeah, God knows why certain things don't happen to me. Number one, I wouldn't be saying anything to nobody. No alarm. But anyway, let me get into the article a little more. According to CBSnews.com, the error took place last April. So why them just make we know now, like say it just happened. Anyway, the error took place last April and was missed by a payments employee and a second worker before it was cleared to process the following day, according to the newspaper, which cited an internal account and two people familiar with the matter. A third employee discovered the error an hour and a half after the payment was processed. The transaction was reversed several hours later. No funds left the bank, and the near miss was disclosed to the Federal Reserve and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Despite the fact that a payment of this size could not actually have been executed, our detective controls promptly identified the inputting error between two city ledger accounts, and we reversed the entry. No, it was not prompt. From my banking experience, prompt would have been from the first person because you have to balance. Debits and credits must balance. So, and when there are certain transactions over a certain amount, and I know we all can speak to this when we have gone to the bank, right? Them have to get supervisor approval if you want to take out a certain amount of money. Or even if you're crediting a certain amount of money, them still have to get supervisor override because them are going to question you where you get the money from. They're miss me with the beers. I think somebody was trying something. But anyway, back to Haiti. It is not clear whether Kenyan police officers deployed in Haiti last year to help fight the gangs are involved in the security operation. How do you mean it's not clear? Didn't a Kenyan officer die last week? Someone understand what I mean by them it's not clear. A Kenyan police officer last week lost his life. He was on patrol with the Kenyan-led multinational security support mission, and he was killed in confrontation with a gang member. Huh?
Is a way to tell you that the subsequent killing was not a reprisal for what happened. So that's their way of saying we didn't go out to kill these people simply because we lost a soldier. This is a different operation entirely. So they're saying the quiet out loud, but that's what they're trying to say. That it's not reprisal. If one of yours dies in the line of duty, the issue is if it's something in line with the stuff we're pursuing, you would want to see it to a conclusion. And so maybe that is what happened, but obviously they're thinking people must start reading and also to fighting down the the local population, that it wasn't because they killed the soldier, but this is an ongoing operation, that kind of thing.
Right.
They don't take it out on any other soldier that they see or they can put their hands on. So it's just a way of fighting down the problems.
Yeah. All right. Morning, Naturalist. Naturalist is with us on YouTube Live. Naturalist, we're also on TikTok Live. Yes, we are. All right. Thank you, Adesoji. Thank you so much. Thank you for the likes. We made our goal of 2,000 likes. The next step, 3,000. So go and tap up the screen. Thank you for sharing. Continue to share the live, folks. And for those of you who are coming in, we invite you to follow Coffee and Toe right here on TikTok. We appreciate you. All right, next up, let's move on to Jamaica for our next article. Oh boy, it's Jamaica making it too easy for foreigners to come in and feel comfortable. Let's see. According to this article, an American man was held in Old Harbor for overstaying, and it turns out that he is a fugitive. Article courtesy of JamaicaGleaner.com. The St. Catherine Parish Court heard that an American man charged with overstaying in Jamaica is wanted in the United States on shooting charges. When 28-year-old Saeed Singh appeared in court, it was revealed that a warrant had been issued for his arrest. A representative from the United States Embassy acknowledged the offense. Parish Court Judge Yvette Wentworth Miller remanded Singh until March 4 to facilitate the appearance of a representative from the Passport, Immigration, and Citizenship Agency, PICA. Allegations are that on Monday, February 24, police operatives assigned to the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch conducted an operation on Old Harbor Road in St. Catherine. During the operation, Singh was observed washing motor vehicles. He was accosted, and checks revealed that he had been in Jamaica for more than 12 months, exceeding the time allowed in the country. He was subsequently charged for overstaying his time. How do we curb that? Is that something that's easily controllable? I don't think so, because if America itself can't control that, enough for Jamaica. Where was he staying? Although Jamaica is much smaller, of course, obviously, but anyone who overstays their time in Jamaica, is it easy to track them? And I'm wondering if it's easy to pin them down, get a hold of them, find them. All right, my friend. Well, no more hiding. Go ahead. Go. I'm sure I heard a mic open. Or was I hearing?
Moments in the Caribbean, if you're in the Caribbean and you overstay your time, nobody checks on you. Unless you're giving trouble or come across the law, nobody really cares. People go about their daily business. Nobody care about your status or anything like that. If you're giving trouble and you're known to the police, that's a different story.
Right.
But there are many people that just live without anybody bothering them. Nobody really cares.
So the Caribbean is an easy place to hide out. Please, no, don't do no things and then go the people them country island go do the dirt. Well, let's hope them not carrying on the bad behavior there. But your time run out. Good morning, DJ Naturalist. Thank you for joining here on TikTok Live. All right, next up, on to St. Lucia, stluciatimes.com. Let me pin this here. Well, they have recovered a stolen M16 rifle. According to stluciatimes.com, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force has recovered the M16 rifle that was stolen from the Gross Islet Police Station Armory earlier this month. We carried this story last week, and there was an investigation. Well, they have now recovered it. That's good. It said in a statement on Thursday morning that the weapon was retrieved as part of an intensive investigation conducted by one of our specialized units. The firearm was reported missing on February 15, triggering a comprehensive inquiry. As a result of the investigation, Sergeant Ricardo Gerson Charlemagne was charged and remanded to prison on a theft charge. Due to ongoing legal proceedings, further details regarding the recovery have not been disclosed. The police described the recovery as a significant step towards ensuring accountability and maintaining public trust. Well, that's good. Good for you. Good morning, Dr. Sharon. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, here with me on TikTok Live. All right, let's keep it moving. Next up, it's time for us to go down in the islands. Our features travel and lifestyle segment. And this article is courtesy of essence.com. Where are you? Where are you? Okay, here we go. So, according to Essence.com, between 2023 and 2024, the island of Jamaica made over $4 billion in tourism alone. This is just one of the 13 independent countries that make up the Caribbean islands. With billions of dollars coming through cruises, hotels, flights, and more, you can only wonder how much, if anything, is going into the hands of the local Caribbean people who work in the tourism industry. With more and more of the island getting pushed and leased by outsiders with deep pockets, two women decided it was time to take a stand, organize, and put their Caribbean siblings in arms in the spotlight. Fiona Compton and Jadine Yard are the co founders of the Caribbean Green Book. Compton is also the founder of Know Your Caribbean, a platform dedicated to educating people about lesser known Caribbean history, shared how the Caribbean Green Book was named. She said it was inspired by the Green Book, which was for quote unquote Negro drivers during Jim Crow to be able to find Black owned businesses or safe spaces when they were driving through the United States. It was also something that helped to keep money within the community. So that is what the Caribbean Green Book is, because up to 80% of hotels are, yes, foreign owned. A conversation we've had several times, huh? Too much foreign ownership. We need more local investors. Ozzy says, yes, I love Fiona. We need more local investors. Why? But you know what? A part of the problem, in my humble opinion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we support our locals the way we ought to. We are quick to bend over backwards and roll out the red carpet for foreign investors. It's as though we don't believe. Okay, I'm not sure what. Okay, hold on a second, because I'm in the live and I have to. Okay, I had to do a puzzle piece to continue the live. All right, yeah, so not sure why that was put in place, how that came about, that we would be quick to roll out the red carpet, to bend over backwards, and be more supportive of foreign investors. Why? And to think that in 2025, we're still doing that. 80% of hotels are foreign owned. What kind of negotiations can we have put in place to encourage partnership? We understand, okay, we'll understand foreign investors are able to secure the funding um, at interest rates we're not able to compete with, to pump into these ventures, these projects. But can we somehow have a partnership with the locals, where whether it's the government or a group, a local group, a consortium, so to speak, to be able to partner with these hotel chains? Because what is happening is that, yes, they're setting up shop, yes, they're giving people jobs, and now in Jamaica, tourists, tourism, not that, hoteliers, excuse me, are now tasked with having to provide housing for their workers, right? We played a clip last week of the 400 room facility that was put up. for hotel workers at all levels. um, yeah, I get that, but we need more to be done. So let me see the chat here. We don't, so as it says, we don't think enough of ourselves to think we can do it. Yeah. And why is that? Why is that? When I'm reading that comment, Ozzy, I'm thinking of the Bob Marley song. We are mentally enslaved. We don't think we're deserving of it. We don't think we're capable. What is it? We're still beholden to the colonizer mindset. Is that the right way to put it? The massa mindset. These projects should be required to have 50% local ownership to even exist. I agree. Naturally says they always think anything from overseas is better than local. Why? Colonialism had just as much psychological effects as physical. Yeah. We're still of this mindset that anything external is better, especially if it's European. Because I think many of the hotels are the more recent ones, Spanish owned. Come on. Come on, Caribbean. Last week we also spoke about one over there in, is it Antigua or Grenada? It's not a local. It's not a local. And then we also have the issue of access to beaches. That's a whole nother conversation. Because when we give up the seashore to these large hotels, the locals complain that they're cut off from the beaches. We need to do better. Go ahead, Mr. President.
You have to understand that these models was handed on to us as neo-colonialization tools, okay?
Mm-hmm.
After they left, they find these are some of the ways they use to control our economy, control how we develop and stuff like that. And there is not much governments, even in the developing country, that is looking inwards towards development. And so we
Mm-hmm.
see a difference now in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger for a change, where they're looking at their resources and they're developing for the people by the people.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Caribbean, foreign direct investment is what they judge us by, they push it. So when IMF and those institutions come in and saying, oh, you have to give better tax breaks because you need foreign investors, foreign investors, foreign investors, it's not about development.
Mm-hmm.
It's about them coming to give you some money and then control you and exploit your resources.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we stick to that model. We don't have much innovative people. And then when governments go in there and they're faced with civil servants to pay and there is no money and we don't have innovative way and we don't have brilliant thinkers to take us through those processes. So the easiest way is just go and get a loan from somebody. That's it.
So thank you, Mr. President. In the chat here on TikTok, in the VI, as he says, by law, locals must be able to access the beaches. All beachfront property is illegal as they obstruct access. And we've had conversation as it relates to being able to access the beaches. And I know I have expressed the concern that, yes, they want to keep their tourists safe. And locals, and I'm speaking about Jamaica now, there have been complaints where they feel as though locals are infringing upon their relaxation, call it that, and they don't want to be bothered, right? However, I think the process can be streamlined. I think it can be handled in a way that the locals will understand. You come on, you enjoy, don't harass anybody, don't interfere with nobody. That's how I look at it. Hey, Georgia, that's how I look at it. Locals should be able to access and, move about, but understand rules and regulations. Is that an unreasonable ask? Because you don't want them come and just do as them please and, especially some people don't know if to behave themselves sometimes. We don't want that. So I think governments need to sit down and figure out, have a conversation with hoteliers, put it that way. Have a conversation with hoteliers so that locals can enjoy. And a lot of times the beaches that are given up to foreign investors are the prime spaces, the beautiful spaces. Can't trust a merit system with people who don't believe in merit.
I mean, so I think in all due respect, I think the whole harassing of people is just a pretext
Mm-hmm.
that is used as an excuse. Because if you go to a public beach, whether there is tourists there or not,
Mm-hmm.
that has any kind of security, you can't be harassing anybody on that beach, whether they're local, they're foreigners, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So to cut off, especially in Jamaica, it's horrendous in Jamaica. To be selling all the beaches to private landowners and telling Jamaicans they cannot go on the basis that they have no behavior is just ludicrous. And it's just an excuse because there are methods that cannot be put in place
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that everybody on the beach is respectful.
Yes.
You see it all over. I think Barbados is a place where you have a lot of mingling between tourists and the locals.
Yeah.
You don't hear of no people, Yes, there'll be a little harassment here and there. Somebody may have to pull up, but that's what they have security guards and stuff for.
Right.
And by and large, people go there to enjoy the beach, not to check on the tourists. The vast majority of people don't care anything about the tourists when they go into the beach on a Sunday with their family. So it's just nonsense if you ask me.
That's a reasonable argument. That's a reasonable argument. So we need to stop making excuses, find solutions. Exactly. It is a ruse. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And that article closes out our Caribbean Corner segment. Coming up next, we have stories out of Latin America. Want to say thank you to everyone listening on QMZRadio.com, JanoRadio.com, MadMusicHouse.com. Thank you to everyone watching on the YouTube Live. Thank you. Thank you to everyone right here with me on TikTok. Welcome to our TikTok family. Don't forget to tap up the screen. Let us get up to 3,000 likes. Yes, run it up, run it up, run it up. And remember to share the live. Our goal also for everyone here on TikTok is to head on over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button to our YouTube channel. We are looking to gain 25 new subscribers to the YouTube channel this week. All right. So that's our mission for this week. All right. Out of the Latin American corner, CARICOM seeks clarity on U.S. visa restrictions over Cuban medical missions. You heard about this foolishness? All right, let's get into this one. According to Caribbean Weekly, nationalweekly.com, Caribbean Community CARICOM foreign ministers convened on Friday to discuss the United States' decision to impose visa restrictions on foreign government officials whose countries employ Cuban doctors and nurses. The virtual meeting was chaired by Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Dr. Amory Brown, and it was held to determine a collective regional response following the announcement by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The new policy expands an existing visa restriction to include foreign government officials believed to be involved in Cuba's overseas medical missions. According to the U.S. Department of State, the restrictions will also apply to immediate family members of those supporting the Cuban program. The policy has already been enforced with several individuals, including Venezuelan officials. However, Rubio has not specified any other foreign countries or officials that are being targeted, leaving questions about the broader impact of the policy. CARICOM foreign ministers agreed to seek further clarification from the U.S. State Department, given that most member states engage Cuban medical professionals. Additionally, a meeting with the U.S. Special Envoy for the region is being arranged for mid-March in Washington, D.C. Okay. Really? Is this necessary? So they're saying that the policy does not apply to Cuban doctors themselves, but to government officials responsible for managing these programs. The United States is committed to countering forced labor practices around the globe. That's according to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who, by the way, a lot of people are not too happy with him right now. They're not finding favor with him right now. A lot of Cubans here in Miami are looking at him as a total sellout, forgetting his history, forgetting where he's coming from. The US government argues that these missions involve forced labor, where Cuban medical professionals are sent abroad under exploitative conditions, while the Cuban government profits. Many Caribbean countries, including Jamaica, benefit from the assistance of Cuban doctors and nurses who have provided critical healthcare support for decades. The expanded US policy could raise concerns among these nations that rely on Cuban doctors to bolster their healthcare system. Let me tell you something. Cuba has the best doctors, hands down. I don't care nobody wants to say. The best doctors, in my opinion, are Cuban.
Not American doctors?
No. And you know something else about Cuba? I don't care what you want to say. Whenever there is a global issue, healthcare issue, they're quick to send out their medical personnel. Didn't we? The most recent was what? During the pandemic?
During the pandemic. And they also hold, every 6 months, they also hold a general medical, what's it called? General medical fair they pick a state in the United States.
Symposium.
Yeah. So basically, they come there and treat people for free. So.
Moments. Didn't the same Cubans save Italy during the pandemic? Remember, the Italians were so happy for them, but forget about that. On the whole thing about forced labor, didn't this same U.S. Congress people making a motion to make it that children, minors, can work at McDonald's and use the fryer and use chainsaws in meat factories and all kind of stuff like that, and you could work after school and they wanted to make that law to reduce the working age and stuff. And isn't it true that there was an incident where we had minors that have been caught working for reputable companies?
We had the stories last year in the news.
We talking about forced labor. What are you talking about? Do you know how much help the Cuban government give to the medical fraternity throughout the Caribbean since Adam was a lad? This is preposterous.
I know for that a lot of Jamaicans go to Cuba for medical school. Yes, throw stones and hide hands. And talking about working, not just working, Mr. President, wasn't it last year we had some bills being proposed in some states for child marriage? I call it child marriage at 14 years old. Or am I missing something? Was I dreaming that one up?
But it's the same party in power that was touting the reduction of age to make it illegal for kids to work, in some cases even during school hours. So I don't understand it.
I remember they look at children as parasites because they want to get rid of the food program in schools, because they're parasites. They must go work. Them not see why them can't go work. Okay, work and pay for them lunch at school. You got that right, Ozzy. You got that right. You got that right. Thank you so much for on top of the screen, TikTok. All right, so boy. Let me check the comments here on YouTube. Rubio is a problem. Some of the best doctors and nurses get taught in Cuba. Agreed. Germany remilitarized. I don't know. The left and the right hands, both hands doing two different things, right? The very things that the right hand is being critical of is the very things that the left hand at the same time, same body, instituting. I don't know. seems a little hypocritical to me, but oh boy. All right, next up, El Salvador, Europe. El Salvador's Bitcoin law changes to secure IMF funding. This article, courtesy of Forbes.com. El Salvador's Bitcoin law changes have reshaped the country's approach to Bitcoin as legal tender, making the definition diffuse but helping to unlock up to $3.5 billion in new financing from multilateral institutions. Okay, how does that work? Interesting. All right. So on January 29, the country modified this law to comply with the International Monetary Fund's conditions for accessing $1.4 billion in a loan announced in late 2024. The IMF board approved it on February 26, allowing the authorities to an immediate disbursement of approximately $113 million. All right, this is unfamiliar territory for me. I'm not a Bitcoin person, nor do I understand it, and I'm very, I don't know the right word to use, but not keen either. But how does this work with the IMF though? You're able to get the funding. Anybody familiar with this?
No, okay. So for me, the issue not is not the funding per se. It's when you read in the article and they said the law was changed. Changed from what? To allow Bitcoin to operate in what's the name of the country again?
El Salvador.
El Salvador, or to be much more stringent with it. I think the article, sorry, I've been hanging around with Milton too much. So I think the article is a bit too loose there. So he wants us to read what the reporter wants to say, whereas it's not written it down on paper. So the point is, was the law changed in order to access the money?
So let us go. All right, let's go through it again because I want to have.
They
Okay,
did
go
not
ahead, Mr.
specify
President.
moments, but I think what happened is El Salvador has betted big on Bitcoin. And
Okay.
everybody was laughing at the guy and said it was a big mistake because of the instability of the currency, and they had some financial problems and stuff.
Mhm.
But it happened that they got a windfall because Bitcoin went to $100,000
Mhm.
for one. So he made a huge profit. So I believe, I don't know the details because they didn't state it there. I believe what the IMF is doing is coming and tell them, okay, claw back the leverage you give to Bitcoin, and we will come in and provide those kind of funding for you to sort of fill a gap.
Okay.
Because they want them to probably withdraw from that. I'm not sure. I'm subject to correction, but I could almost believe that's what it is because they betted big and they won on Bitcoin.
Exactly. So it makes more sense now. So it's like cease with the speculation in terms of currency, because you can't run a national economy based on speculation. You're just gonna be blowing hot and cold,
Right.
And so they won't be able to like. So okay, I get it now. That's why they want. Okay, yeah, it makes sense now. Makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So in the chat on YouTube, 80 says IMF does not deal in Bitcoin. So Venezuela, what is it? It's El Salvador 80, but he has in the comment here, Venezuela had to change its law that BTC was mandatory. Now it is a choice to use. So let me go back to the article. El Salvador's Bitcoin law changes review, and I scroll down a little bit more. In the original text of the Bitcoin law, the legal tender status was clear and aligned with widely accepted definitions. Even though it was never fully enforced, it explicitly defined Bitcoin as currency, mainly through Articles 1 and 7. Now, the updated text omits this definition. In fact, the original Spanish version is ambiguous, defining Bitcoin as curso legal, which can be translated to legal course. The Bitcoin law changes related to the legal tender status highlight that merchants are no longer compelled to accept BTC, and it is no longer an option for tax payments. removing key aspects of its previous legal tender status. Going forward, BTC acceptance will be voluntary. Thus, under the reviewed Bitcoin law, Bitcoin is no longer classified as currency, but remains a payment method exempt from capital gains tax. The public sector activities related to Bitcoin will be phased out to comply with the confined status the IMF required in December. Okay. Chivo Wallet, El Salvador's central infrastructure for Bitcoin transactions, will be unwound. Despite the issues and criticisms around it, it was one of the main ways for average Salvadorians to use BTC during these years. So, in other words, I want to make sure I'm understanding what I'm reading. El Salvador made it possible via law for people to trade, conduct business in. Have a wonderful day, is Ozzy. Thank you for coming through. See you tomorrow. Or we'll be here until about 1:30. So if you can come back in, come right back in. All right, so help me. I want to make sure I'm understanding the whole thing over there in El Salvador. So El Salvador created or made it possible for Bitcoin holders to conduct transactions using Bitcoin as legal tender, right? Am I right? I hope. Oh, no, tell me if I'm right, I'm wrong.
That's the case. That's the case.
Okay, all right. But Bitcoin is no longer classified as currency, but remains a method exempt from capital gains tax. Why would it remain exempt from capital gains tax?
Well,
that's a good question.
Okay, so so if it's not categorized as a full currency, it means its valuation is loosely defined. So technically, even in a court of law, for capital gains tax to operate in a court of law, it has to be something that is regulated by that society. And if it's not, then it's hard to. If I say my Bitcoin is worth 110,000, somebody else says it's worth only 75. Who are we to go with? So that's. I see where the idea of capital gains tax can, be true. Again, that's why the IMF is like the World Bank is thinking, you know what, we can't give you this money if your economy is working like a casino.
All right, so I pulled up capital gains tax. So capital gains tax, and we've heard about it. I think it was last year, where a lot of people were up in arms here in the US about it, because they're like, how am I going to pay tax on something that I have not yet realized? So, all right, a capital gains tax is imposed on the sale of an asset. The long-term capital gains tax, okay, we don't want that. So pretty much, a capital gains tax is imposed on the sale of an asset. So in other words, Bitcoin is looked at as an asset. So if it appreciates in value, when I cash it in, there is a tax that's imposed on the profit or the entire amount.
It's usually imposed on the profit and it is realized. It has to be sold to attract capital gains. As long as it's not sold, you don't pay any capital gains.
Okay. All right. Got it. Thank you. Okay. Next, Germany. Hold on a second. We know the Latin American. Is one storm that I've found out of Latin America? No, I have another one. Puerto Rico. This one is an audio clip. Let's take a listen to this one. Puerto Rico. Facts are facts. And Ja said that. By the way, did any of you see Ja in the chat? All right. Let's just set this one over. Let's take a listen to this.
You going to Puerto Rico and not seeing some Puerto Rican? That's crazy, right? See, Puerto Rico's becoming more gentrified every year, displacing locals from their own land. The key reason is these two laws, Act 20 and Act 22, and now part of Act 60, corporate tax incentives to the wealthy investors. Act 20 reduces corporate tax rates from 20% in the US to 4% in Puerto Rico, attracting big businesses. Act 22 allows individual investors to go from paying 37% capital gains tax in the US to paying 0% in Puerto Rico, as long as they become residents. These laws were meant to boost the economy, but instead allow celebrities and wealthy individuals and corporations to buy up the land and property, pushing out the local residents that have been there for generations. What's crazy is these tax benefits are not allowed to the Puerto Rican people. Instead, the locals have to pay the highest sales tax in the US. And this is just another example of how they continue to colonize Puerto Ricans. Facts is facts.
Wow. Wow. Come on, Puerto Rico. I know, I think it was last year too. We're making references to a lot of things we covered last year. I remember we had a conversation about that and how it's becoming very difficult for the locals of Puerto Rico to live there, to be able to acquire property there. They're priced out. And now to think the taxes, they can't benefit. So if I'm a Puerto Rican and I leave Puerto Rico and I come to mainland US, can I go back and benefit from those tax breaks? Or as long as I am a native, I can't? How does that work? That's something I'd like to know. Because there has to be everything has a loophole, you know. Everything has a loophole. As a Puerto Rican, I cannot benefit from the tax breaks there. But what if I leave? What if I am big like what's his name?
Puerto Rico is what's her name? Jennifer Lopez.
Yes, and Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony, yeah. So what if you were to come into the US, set up a company, the company goes and invests in Puerto Rico? That's the way around it. Yeah. Oops, sorry, I'm being British here. So I should go. Free advice. Sorry.
we like the colonial mindset with some things. No, but you have to think like them. If you can't beat them, join them. And as I said, there is a workaround for everything. And I strongly believe there is a loophole. Because that's what I'm thinking to Adesoji. All right. As a Puerto Rican native living there, I can't benefit. All right, no worries. I'll migrate, go somewhere else, set up shop, and then come back. And then what you're going to tell me at that point? That because I was born there, I can't benefit? Come on, man. Thank you for liking. Thank you for the likes, folks. Thank you. Continue to tap up the screen. Remember, we're trying to get to 3,000 likes on TikTok. I mean, we have to do. Colonization is in full effect. It's just that they now deceive and buy instead of war in most cases. And that's a comment from AT on YouTube Live. Would you agree? Colonization is still in full effect. It's just that now they deceive and buy instead of war in most cases. Yeah. It's still in full effect, right? And we saw that on display. Was it last week? That was a fiasco. The whole world is talking about what happened last week, no? The whole world. I don't know if I'm to be embarrassed. I don't know if I'm to be alarmed. I don't know how to feel about what we saw, what we all witnessed on the platform. But SNL did a number with it. Y'all saw the SNL video. Had me cracking up.
What were you supposed to be embarrassed about? There's nothing. First and foremost, we seem to forget.
As an American?
Yes, but we seem to forget one thing. That what you saw on Friday, was it Friday? I think it was Friday. Yeah,
Friday. Yeah.
What you saw on Friday was payback. It had nothing to do with the war in Ukraine. It was a payback. You forgot Trump called Zelensky and asked him to find dirt on Biden.
Yes.
And Biden said, and Zelensky said he cannot interfere in American elections.
Right.
So basically, that was his comeback. Was his comeback? He was like, I am going to what's the word? I am going to publicly humiliate you for what you did. Because that guy is very vindictive. It's very vindictive. That is why when the British came to him, and with the British I'm talking about Keir Starmer and the Foreign Secretary, you saw how they treated him like a child. They gave him toys to play with. A letter from Prince Charles.
But that he didn't read?
He doesn't have to read it. The mere fact that the king wrote to him was enough for him to be enamored. I mean, if we wanted to steal his pants there and there, we will. Unfortunately, we won't. We don't want soy pants. But, you get the message. So he was just trying to get back at Zelensky. And the world unfortunately, the world saw it, but they didn't connect the dots. Because every time they were talking, it was about the money that he was getting. It wasn't the money. Majority of the money that goes to Ukraine does not go to them personally. They go into the industrial military complex. This is weapons. It's paying for American weapons that is then sent there. That's it. The money they get is pittance compared to the money that goes into the war machine. So the idea that this guy is coming hand over fist to get, what you saw on Friday was a payback. And I was laughing when I saw it. I'm like, it's about time it will happen. Oh, don't you have a suit? Well, how come?
Listen.
How come? No, the funny part was for me was the toady. What's his name? The one with the eye shadow.
JD.
Yeah. When he said, you've never even thanked President Trump. For what?
But here's the thing, Adesoji. Stick up in right there, Adesoji. Yeah. In all fairness, regardless of how we want to feel about Zelensky, the whole Ukraine issue, every time he came before Congress, he said thank you. I mean, he said thank you.
Yes, he said thank you. And no, it wasn't only the thank you. It was the fact that when the toady, that again, that's his name, when the toady, second toady in chief, when he specifically said, have you said thank you to President Trump? The question is, what for? What's he saying thank you to Trump for?
Because Trump is giving him things out of his back pocket, apparently.
No, but Trump hasn't given him any money. When did Trump sign any money over to him? Since Trump came back into office, when? He's not giving him any money. The last tranche of money he got was from Biden. So it's not whether he gets money or not. It's the fact that you specifically mentioned you've not said thank you to President Trump. For what?
I don't know.
But the world was watching and was laughing. It's like, well.
It was an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment. But I have a couple of videos because great segue into our next segment, which is stories on the international scene. That's what we have coming up next, right? Very interesting, I must say. Let me go ahead and play a couple of videos here. Hold on. Oh, by the way, did y'all watch I saw it on the news and I was cracking the hell up. I remember I turned to Marlon and I'm like, hold on. Did he just say President Musk or referred to Musk as the president? Listen to this, because it wasn't me alone. So it happened after about 15 minutes after making that comment, and I'm putting the stories together. Boom, I see this video on TikTok. Let's take a listen to that.
It's about 2:45 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, March 2nd, 2025, as I'm recording this. About 30 minutes ago, Elon Musk retweeted a video from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. In the video, Hegseth is explaining to civilian employees of the Defense Department that they will be receiving the same email that went out to other departments, requesting them to provide 5 bullet points of their accomplishments in the last week and to omit any confidential information. Let me play you a clip from this video, though, and see if you catch it. There's something super strange about his wording here, and it could truly just be a mistake, but I thought it was strange, especially on a video that could have been remade, edited, whatever.
I am now directing each member of the department's civilian workforce, just civilian, to provide those 5 bullets on what they accomplished in their specific jobs last week, to reply to that email and CC their immediate supervisors. It's a simple task. really, as Elon said, as the president recognized in our first cabinet meeting, just a pulse check. Are you there out to DoD civilians?
Did you catch it? I'll play it again, but it reads very weird. It sounds very weird.
It's a simple task, really, as Elon said, as the president recognized in our first cabinet meeting.
Admittedly, this is a little bit picky, but as the former teacher that I am, I'm super honed in on grammar, right? Like I had to teach kids how to write and how to do subjects and predicates and all that stuff. So I took that sentence, as Elon pointed out, as the president recognized in our first cabinet meeting, I put it into ChatGPT and I said, grammatically, who is the president according to that sentence? And this is what we got. If we interpret the context of the sentence, it seems to imply that Elon, most likely Elon Musk, may be the president in question, especially since the first part of the sentence introduces Elon. It's weird, right? And it's especially weird because Trump is a narcissist, and him not being named by name is very obscure and not usually the case. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Did any of you see that on the news? When I heard, I was like, I immediately turned and said, like, hold on a second. Did Hegseth just acknowledge Elon as president of the United States?
Why was she putting? No, my problem is why was she putting through ChatGPT though? Don't you know who the president is? Please, come on. It's President Trump. It's President Elon. So, yeah, come on. I mean, did the son not tell the president? Did he not tell the imposter?
Shut up.
Hey, just shut
And
up.
you are not the president.
You are not the president. Simple. That's it.
So everybody else knows it's just a matter of time before them come out and say, yes, I saw it go. But because he's per the Constitution or per whatever, per the law, the land, you have to be a natural born citizen to qualify for the possibility to be president in this country.
We've been changing all the rules. So what difference is I mean, we could change that as well. So.
All right. So let's listen to another video real quick.
Killing people. If Russia stopped fighting, if Russia wanted to end the war, if Russia stopped fighting, Russia could just stop fighting. There wouldn't be a war. No one would be killed.
And that would be
hey,
great.
what job done?
Yeah,
why doesn't the West take that to Russia?
Ultimately, maybe that's what the negotiations
Which part
are.
of Britain?
Oh, by the way, and she said, hush your tongue. Did you all see the other one where he cuts off, where Mr. Trump cuts off, what's his name? Said, okay, that's enough. And immediately ended. He was answering a question. Oh my gosh, I have to find that one.
What part of Britain would you give away if we were invaded and you wanted to negotiate peace?
None at all.
Oh, so we wouldn't give away any of Britain.
But
there's no need to give away a bit of Ukraine.
Hang on, it's not us giving it away, Julia. Right? It's Ukraine, and Ukraine
doesn't want to give it away.
Of course it doesn't. But ultimately, as everybody said, it is Zelensky's decision. But ultimately, we've got to stop killing people.
If we were invaded and our close allies in NATO, like the United States, basically supported us for a bit, but gave us just enough support so we could actually not lose, but we'd not enough to win.
Yeah.
And after 3 years, whoever was president of the United States
position from which to try and negotiate a solution.
So at which point Donald Trump, let me finish. Says, oh, well, we're going to have a negotiation. We're going to let the Russians, whoever invaded us, keep our territory. Just to clarify. Just how much of British territory would you be willing to give away in those negotiations?
On Northern Ireland, chat. Ultimately, in Northern Ireland, there was a negotiation to stop the killing. It involved horrendous compromises that lots of people didn't want to make.
We didn't give away territory.
We stopped killing people.
We didn't give away territory.
That's also
We didn't give away territory to invade wars. That's a ridiculous analogy.
It's a completely valid analogy. Wars.
Sorry, who invaded Northern Ireland?
Wars stop when people stop killing people.
No, wars stop. Wars stop when one side is defeated. Sorry, have you heard of the Second World War?
Yes.
Did we negotiate the ending of the Second World War?
Have you heard of there are lots of other wars where ultimately people negotiate a peace. Otherwise, you just carry on. How long are we going to carry on with this?
Falklands.
Yeah, Falklands we won.
Oh, yeah. We didn't just negotiate with Argentina and give them some of the Falklands.
No, there's
Why not? Why not? That would have stopped the war, Richard. Why not?
Ultimately, we won that war. But there are other wars where it's a negotiated settlement.
Because it's not our problem. Except it will be our problem when Vladimir Putin thinks he can take any territory of any country in Europe that he darn well pleases.
And that's why the negotiation is about what is the strength of what is put in place to stop him going any further. That's why I've always said...
What's going to stop him going any further? We've just said
that's the whole point of the negotiation, Julia. That's the whole point of the negotiation. Is Ukraine going to join NATO and therefore benefit from the Article 4? Well, that's the point of the negotiation.
Well, there's no negotiation, is it? Is there? There's no negotiation. The Secretary of State
clearly don't understand how President Trump works. He starts out in one position. That doesn't mean that's where he settles. The whole point of a negotiation, you set out positions and then you work out where you're going to finish. You know what you don't do
in a negotiation? You set out a position where you've given the other side everything that they want.
And that's not what I suspect.
Literally what they've done in the last 24 hours.
I completely disagree.
I just thought reform cared about national borders.
We do absolutely care about national borders and sovereignty. Not all of them. Okay. But equally, we don't want to carry on killing people. We're not killing people. But ultimately, somehow, the war has got to stop. It's gone on for 3 years. How long do we keep it going? A decade? 2 decades?
How long would you fight for this country?
Until I'm dead.
Well, exactly. That's what Ukrainian people would ideally do if they were given support. But that war could have been won a long time ago if we'd given support.
Yeah, but there are lots of Ukrainian people who would like to find a way to end this war, including the president.
Let's not use up all our time on this. I'm disappointed in
I'm not disappointed at all about trying to explore ways to stop killing people.
Yeah, well,
so help me understand him. He's saying that he would fight to his death, to preserve his country. But another country should just go ahead and cave. Is that what he's saying, to stop the war?
Yeah,
that's what he's saying. Okay.
That's what he's saying. And you also have to understand that he's speaking to an audience of one. Remember when Elon Musk and I think it was it Elon Musk? No, it wasn't Elon Musk. Yeah, it was Elon Musk. When he said that he looks forward to Nigel Farage. That's a member of Nigel Farage's party, to become the Prime Minister of Great Britain. Wow. Okay, that's a reach. But to be said, that guy is an idiot. He clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. When he used the Good Friday Agreement, which is the agreement with the British signed with the IRA in Northern Ireland, it was that the killing will stop, but they will all go into form a coalition government in Northern Ireland. No territory was given up. There was no such thing. So I don't know, his sense of history is probably what. Not that I agree with that woman either, because she herself is very hideous, if I should say. You know, She is like, she is akin to your Megyn Kelly. Yeah, that's your Megyn Kelly. That's British Megyn Kelly. So, I mean, I'd rather listen to nails being dragged across an iron board than listen to that woman speak. But, truth be told, nah, none of that. And what he was talking about is just basically just echoing the thoughts of Elon Musk, because Elon Musk said when the election comes, they're going to pour money into his party. So he's hedging his bets.
By the way, speaking about Megyn Kelly, did you hear how Don Lemon dressed her down properly?
Well, I mean, listen, those kind of people are not, there's some people you waste breath on. You just, I'm sorry. So,
he let her have it.
Of course, he did. But every time she speaks, it's almost like craving for attention.
Yeah.
Because the moment you hear what she's saying, please, you don't even have a position on this thing.
All right, so a couple more videos, because of course we are in the international news segment. Here, take a listen to this one.
Marco Rubio really doesn't want you to see this video that proves MAGA is lying when they say the United States doesn't owe Ukraine anything. Definitely don't repost it, and definitely don't watch it till the very end.
When the Soviet Union fell in the early 1990s, Ukraine was left with the world's third largest stockpile of tactical nuclear weapons and strategic nuclear weapons on the planet. But they signed this agreement with the United States and Russia. They said, if you give up your nuclear weapons, we, these countries that signed to this, will provide for your defense. And so Ukraine did that. They gave up these weapons. Well, now, 20 years later, one of the countries that signed that agreement hasn't just not provided for their defense, they actually invaded them. And I want to make a point on this for a second. Think about if you're one of these other countries around the world right now that feels threatened by your neighbors, and the United States and the rest of the world are going to you and saying, listen, don't develop nuclear weapons. We will protect you. What kind of lesson do you think this instance sends to them? I think the message this is sending to many nations around the world is perhaps we can no longer count on the security promises made by the free world.
Marco Rubio really doesn't want you to see this video that proves.
All right, next.
Hold on. What did Marco Rubio just say?
Marco Rubio really doesn't want you to see this video that proves MAGA is lying when they say the United States doesn't owe Ukraine anything. Definitely don't repost it, and definitely don't watch it till the very end.
When the Soviet Union fell in the early 1990s, Ukraine was left with the world's third largest stockpile of tactical nuclear weapons and strategic nuclear weapons on the planet. But they signed this agreement with the United States and Russia that said, if you give up your nuclear weapons, we, these countries that signed to this, will provide for your defense. And so Ukraine did that. They gave up these weapons. Well, now, 20 years later, one of the countries that signed that agreement hasn't just not provided for their defense, they actually invaded them. And I want to make a point on this for a second. Think about if you're one of these other countries around the world right now that feels threatened by your neighbors, and the United States and the rest of the world are going to you and saying, listen, don't develop nuclear weapons. We will protect you. What kind of lesson do you think this instance sends to them? I think the message this is sending to many nations around the world is perhaps we can no longer count on the security promises made by the free world.
Marco Rubio really doesn't want you to see this.
You heard? Did you hear Adesoji?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah. Now I understand. Okay. I remember when he said it. Yeah. Because I was thinking, when did you say this? When I was about to lose my mind, I was like, no, come on. Yeah, I remember when he said it. Okay. So here's the problem. Now you're now the Secretary of State. Okay. All right. Go tell your boss that he's chatting nonsense. This is what this so-called proximity to whiteness. This is what you will cost you. When the man called him Little Marco, he knew who he was.
Got another one for you. Got another one for you. Listen to this one.
When Donald Trump made the mistake of calling on Andrew Feinberg for the first question of the press conference, he heard the best questions asked by a White House reporter this year.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier today, you told me that you believe that foreign countries pay tariffs, but Americans who are concerned about higher prices believe, as most people do, that they're paid by consumers and importers when they import things into this country. Can you explain how you came to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? And for the Prime Minister, did you discuss with President Trump his repeated statements of desire to annex Canada? And has the King expressed any concern over the president's apparent desire to remove one of his realms from his control?
Wow. It doesn't get better than that. Both of those questions were perfect. And yes, sadly, Canada is part of the realm of the King of England, who unfortunately still appears on Canadian currency. So once again, Donald Trump was cornered. Can you explain how you came to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? That is a perfectly phrased question. And Donald Trump had to be the first of the two to answer that two-part question.
So I'll go ahead. The first part, the tariffs are necessary because we've been treated very unfairly by many, many countries, including our friends, friend and foe.
Donald Trump went on to speak 150 words without ever answering the question, how do you come to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? And in those 150 words, he didn't say that foreign governments are paying tariffs. He didn't bother to insist that foreign governments are paying tariffs when he got caught like that. He just talked in circles until he felt he filled up enough time, ending with this.
But I will tell you, it's going to make our country rich, and it's going to stop us from being a laughing stock all over the world, because we have been taken advantage of like no country has ever been taken advantage of. Thank you very much.
Donald Trump is a laughingstock all over the world for claiming that tariffs he imposes are paid by foreign countries instead of American consumers. If Donald Trump puts a tariff of 50% on a Samsung TV coming into this country, then you will pay 50% more for that TV. Tariffs are sales taxes. That's all they are. And the buyer pays the sales tax. And the man who is a laughingstock all over the world is the only head of state in history anywhere in the world who believes he has the power to tax other countries. Because Andrew Feinberg's question about Canada to the British Prime Minister was, did you discuss with President Trump his repeated statements of his desire to annex Canada? The British Prime Minister had an easy out for that question.
You mentioned Canada. I think you're trying to find a divide between us that doesn't exist. We're the closest of nations, and we had very good discussions today, but we didn't discuss Canada.
Yeah, so the laughingstock didn't discuss Canada with the British Prime Minister. The laughingstock president who wants to make Canada the 51st state did not discuss with the British Prime Minister whether the King of England and the British government would be willing to agree to losing Canada from the group of British Commonwealth countries. We have every right to believe that Donald Trump was hearing for the very first time from Andrew Feinberg that there is any relationship at all between Canada and the guy who's going to appear on the next edition of their $20 bill, the King of England. The next great question asked at the press conference today was asked by a British reporter who unfortunately was just there for the day and won't be around to ask any more questions of Donald Trump.
Mr. President, tomorrow you're seeing President Zelensky to sign this deal on minerals and energy that could be hugely important to the United States. Will you take the opportunity to apologize to him for calling him a dictator while praising Vladimir Putin, who is a dictator?
Needless to say, Donald Trump simply did not answer Robert Peston's question. He just said, I think we're going to have a very good meeting tomorrow. That's what happens when a cowardly person is confronted with the truth. Donald Trump all but melted in reaction to the dictator question. Are you going to apologize for calling him a dictator while praising Vladimir Putin, who is a dictator? Donald Trump delivered the functional equivalent of speechlessness, because Donald Trump proves in moments like that he does not have the courage of his convictions, because he has no convictions except the 34 convictions he earned in a Manhattan courtroom last year. Donald Trump doesn't believe anything. Donald Trump doesn't even believe Donald Trump. When Donald Trump calls President Zelensky a dictator, he knows he's lying, and he does not believe it. And so when he's called on it, as perfectly as a British reporter did today, Donald Trump's got nothing. The bluster is gone. We can only hope that the notes the other members of the White House press corps took today in that press conference included performance notes.
And on that note, U.S. President Donald Trump's administration is pausing its offensive cyber operations against Russia, officials say, as a diplomatic push continues to end the war in Ukraine. This article, courtesy of BBC.com. The reasoning for the instruction has not been publicly stated, and it is not clear how long the halt might last. The Defense Department has declined to comment.
So you're welcome for us. The wrong way. Don't stand around. We just ask questions. Like I said, that's all we do. We ask questions. Mr. President, have you spoken to that chappie next to you?
What can I say? Interesting time. Interesting time.
Because we know your journalists they don't have what's the Spanish word for the balls? Cabunas. So we've got to do it.
But I have serious concerns when we talk about cyber operations and cyber security. Why was that instruction given regarding Russia? Why? Aren't we opening up ourselves?
Exactly.
The halt of American cyber operations against Russia came from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in the new guidance to U.S. Cyber Command. It leaves questions. over the strength of the US fight back in the cyber arena against alleged Russian hacking, election interference, and sabotage efforts that have targeted the Western nations, which have sided with Ukraine during the war. Hundreds of thousands or hundreds or thousands of personnel could be affected by this order from Hegseth. Operations aimed at strengthening Ukraine's digital defenses are likely to be among those affected. In a statement, a senior Defense Department official said they would not comment on the issue due to operation concerns, but added there is no greater priority to Secretary Hegseth than the safety of the warfighter in all operations, to include cyber domain. Next. At this point is just next. Triple D, right? AT. I can't read the comment that AT put in the chat on YouTube Live. I want to say thank you to everyone with us here on TikTok. Thank you for the loves. Thank you. Thank you so much. Continue to tap it up. That I should say likes on TikTok. Lord have mercy. I'm mixing up the platforms, but bear with me. Likes on TikTok. Thank you. Please continue to tap up the screen as we're aiming to get to 3,000 likes on TikTok. And don't forget to head on over to subscribe on YouTube to the Coffee Joe YouTube channel. YouTube Live, thank you so much for being here with me. And of course, a big thank you to everyone listening on QMZRadio.com, JohnORadio.com, MadMusicHouse.com. I appreciate you all. Triple D instead. Indeed. McCavan talk. Next article, Germany needs military services to deter Russia atop. General is insisting this. And this article comes to us courtesy of Yahoo News. You know, I miss those days when you used to hear the Yahoo. Mhm. Oh boy. I need to pin this one on I need to pin this one on YouTube. Give me just a second, folks. I thought I had it tagged there already, but I did not. So, yeah, Germany. Let's hear what this article says now. All right. So, according to Yahoo.com, Germany requires a new form of military service to meet its growing defense needs. That's according to a leading general. Harald Ganti, a top lieutenant general in the German army, told DPA in comments released on Sunday that the country's armed forces, known collectively as Bundeswehr, and I think I mispronounced that, but don't come from it, Germany, cannot solely rely on volunteers to fulfill their list of tasks. All the additional tasks that we have to deal with today in the area of homeland security and national and alliance defense will not work without significantly more personnel, and that can only be done with conscripts. Germany must be ready to deter Russia, he argued. There should be no false illusions. If the Russian Federation has the possibility and the impression that it can restore its old Soviet empire with its spheres of influence, I am convinced they would try it. And there is exactly one way to stop them, and that is credible deterrence. Yep. Well, this year the Army is expected to train 2,500 additional troops, but Ganti argued that further investment is needed to bolster military infrastructure. I don't know. They may take on in 60 days all the members of I think the transgender have to leave the military here in the US. I don't know how that's going to impact. I don't know what the number is, but I don't know. They may be able to hop on over to Germany.
You know what that general is asking? That general is asking that Germany be allowed, the constitution be allowed to be adjusted so that they can have a full standing army. I wonder what happened the last time they made that request.
Anyone talks prep? Welcome to everyone. coming through on
I mean,
Yes,
this
Mr.
is nothing to
President.
do with Germany can't withstand no attack. It's all propaganda by the military complex to get all the European armies and stuff to be buying up their things so that they can make profit, buy up the weapons and stuff like that. That's it. Russia, Putin has no interest in taking over no country. He don't even have interest in taking over the full Ukraine. He take the Russian speaking parts. He just makes sure that they stay neutral, which is an easy deal that could have been signed from the beginning, and everything would be everything.
But let me ask you a question.
Why is Putin going to Germany? Come on.
Let me ask you a question though. Had Zelensky gone along with Trump, do you think that Trump would have turned around and handed it over to Putin?
Going along with Trump, but Trump only wants Zelensky material and nothing to do with the war.
You think hold on?
And Zelensky cannot win that war.
Do we
No
really
matter how much we support him.
Do we really think it's Trump who wants it?
Well,
Based on what we see
minerals want
circulating in the media. Because all right, you have him backed by Elon Musk. Go ahead, Adesoji.
If he does that, he basically thanks the United States. Believe you me, if he does that. Hand over the leader of another country over to their collective perceived enemy, they will thank the United States. I'm sorry. It's sad to say, but it will happen.
But why does it seem as though, based on the articles we're seeing and the various clips from legacy media, why does it seem as though our president is somewhat bending the knee to Russia, who is supposed to be an enemy of the state?
The word on the street is he's a compromised person. And they have, how do they say it on Russian streets? They have compromise on the president of the United States. He was seen in 2004 when he went to organize his Miss Universe pageant in Russia.
Yeah.
He was, how can I say it, indulging in very compromising activity.
As I'm hearing that, Skype is going away, right?
Well, about time too. Nobody uses it.
What do you mean nobody uses it? And next up, North Korea just allowed tourists to visit for the first time in 5 years, and what they saw was shocking. What's going on? Why is North Korea doing this?
Bricks and statues.
According to nypost.com, a group of Western tourists were treated to a surreal performance of North Korean school children dancing and singing against a backdrop of animated ballistic missiles during the first officially sanctioned trip to the Hermit Kingdom in 5 years. The unsettling choreographed display was just the tip of the weirdness iceberg for the handful of thrill-seeking travelers from the UK, France, Germany, and Australia who made the 4-day trek to the Asian country's remote Razon region last week. One tourist revealed the trip was so closely monitored by Kim Jong-un's repressive regime that he even had to ask permission to use the bathroom. They've had 5 years to fix things. North Koreans are so sensitive about what they show tourists. If this is the best they can show, I dread to think what else is out there, another visitor remarked. It was the first time since 2020 tourists were allowed to enter. The notoriously secretive nation locked itself down at the start of the pandemic, leaving many to wonder whether Westerners would ever again be able to cross its borders. But Young Pioneer Tours, a company that facilitates trips into the country, was finally able to resume operations after being thwarted for the last half-decade. The North Koreans aren't robots. They have opinions, goals, and a sense of humor. And in our briefing, we encourage people to listen to and understand them. That's according to Rowan Baird, who runs the company when speaking with BBC. Baird told the outlet that once it received the green light, the tourism group had no trouble filling its available slots, which sold out in just 5 hours. But it was no ordinary vacation, with no cell phone or internet service, and not so much as an ATM available for use. The tourists were given a strict set of guidelines to follow, including do not insult the country's leaders, do not mock North Korea's ideology, and do not be judgmental of their unusual and repressive way of life, the outlet writes. They were also followed and watched closely at all times by the country's ever present minders, who make sure visitors don't run afoul of the restrictions or stray from the itinerary. Let that be a warning to any US person who wants to go to visit North Korea. Mind your manners, mind your business. Don't go there and do what y'all did over there in Go ahead, Mr. President.
Moments. First of all, the New York Post is a questionable outfit, but anyhow, imagine they open to tourists, and within what, an hour, 2 hours, they sold out, and all the tourists happen to be from Germany, the UK, the US. Look at Australia. Look at the countries these tourists are from.
Mhm.
If you're Kim Jong-un, would you give these people a free rein in your country? Honestly speaking, why are you surprised that they're monitored and restricted and so on? As though they come in there as some regular tourists. Give me a break.
The moment that guy said it filled up in 2 hours, it's like, come on, Johnny, you're on that flight, you're on that flight, you're on the flight. Mr. President, you're going to be taking notes. Spies, with every one of them on that flight. There was no regular tourist, I'm sorry.
You don't think so? You don't think no regular people? No regular schmegglers?
There is no regular schmegler. Nothing.
Not one. Not
Even-
a single one. And they were treated
even-
appropriately.
Even the guy pretending to be a priest is a spy. Sorry.
So on YouTube Live, AT says you can bet the visit was staged or guided in every stage. I agree. It was carefully orchestrated, so to speak. Polish drug dealer avoids deportation because he does not speak the language. I wonder if that can work here in the US for anyone facing possible deportation to say, well, I do not speak the language, so, sending me there is not the best thing. You think that can work here? No? Okay. Let me pin it on YouTube. AT says 100% Adesoji. He agrees with you 100. Full 100. According to Yahoo.com, a convicted Polish drug dealer has avoided being deported, partly because he claimed he could not speak Polish. Nikodem Lopata, who came to Britain at the age of 4, was arrested when he was 16 years old for dealing cocaine. What's the age of consent over there? When are you considered an adult over there, Adesoji, in Britain?
Consent for what?
Selling cocaine? No, I mean age of consent, period.
There's no age of consent anywhere.
What's the age of consent? When are you considered an adult, judicially speaking, if you're facing the law? If you
18.
have an infraction.
18.
18. Okay, so this man, he was arrested when he was 16 years old for dealing cocaine.
He was a juvenile.
So, okay, and then he was convicted of cannabis offenses at the age of 18. And 3 months after that, he was caught with more than 1,000 pounds of crack cocaine and heroin while carrying a Rambo-style knife. The Polish national was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison in a young offender institution and was told by the Home Office that he would be sent back to the country of his birth. However, after being released, Lopata appealed against the decision under Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights, saying that it would breach his
Human rights.
Okay, hold on a second. So your life contains themes that some may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Okay. He claimed that he could not speak Polish and had no close family or friends living in Poland anymore, which would mean it would be very difficult for him to reintegrate into Polish society.
Okay, it's the story you ran their neighbors.
Yeah. Yeah.
The story you ran on their neighbors, that's what was triggered.
Yeah.
The neighbors to the north.
North, yeah.
The north of the south of them, north of, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Because the time clock it too. I'm looking at the thing. Time stamp. Yeah. But that was carried in the New York Post, no? Not recognized?
No, he is recognized as the New York Post, but anything that sort of impinges on the image of said place is frowned upon, especially in the pond you're playing in. So.
But from my understanding, over the weekend, there was something that was seen that a certain individual is inviting a certain individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is where, if they call it a trout, just take it that it's a trout. It's not a salmon.
Okay. All right, got it. Yeah, so in this case though, he claimed that he could not speak Polish and had no close family or friends living in Poland anymore, which would mean it would be very difficult for him to reintegrate into Polish society. Despite his unenviable list of convictions, judges found in his favor, rejecting the Home Office's argument that he should be forced to leave the UK. The case, disclosed in court papers, is the largest example exposed by the Telegraph where migrants or convicted foreign criminals have used human rights laws to remain in the UK or halt their deportations. So, do you think he will be able to stay or will he ultimately be sent back?
He won't be sent back. First was the fact that when he committed the initial crime, he was a juvenile. So look at it as what kind of intervention did the state take in trying to rehabilitate him? That's one. And two is the fact that if he's invoked the Human Rights Act, UK signatory to it, and if anything, the guy who leads the country at the moment is one of the foremost human rights lawyers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's highly unlikely that on his watch he'll be tossing people out the country. No.
Okay. Interesting. All right, so let's see how that plays out. Yeah, let's see how that plays out.
We're also a very honorable society, unlike some people.
Okay. Oh boy. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tapping up the screen. Thank you for the likes on TikTok. But not for bearing me. I'm trying to switch the brain. How long does it take to unlearn something? They say usually it takes about 30 days to unlearn a cycle or learn a new behavior. We'll get there. All right. So next up, this one courtesy of CNN, exclusive. U.S. intel shows Russia and China are attempting to recruit disgruntled federal employees, according to sources.
I wonder why they will be disgruntled.
But guess what? I click on the link, for this article. More from CNN. It says 3 stories. Russia sees talks with the U.S. as an opening to rebuild its spy networks, officials say. Tracking Trump's overhaul of the federal workforce and U.S. suspense. Well, we spoke about that one earlier. According to CNN, foreign adversaries, including Russia and China, have recently directed their intelligence services to ramp up recruiting of U.S. federal employees working in national security, targeting those who have been fired or feel they could be soon. This is according to 4 people familiar with recent U.S. intelligence on the issue and a document reviewed by CNN. The intelligence indicates that foreign adversaries are eager to exploit the Trump administration's effort to conduct mass layoffs across the federal workforce, a plan laid out by the Office of Personnel Management earlier this week. If any federal employee takes advantage of the opportunity, will they be banned from returning? Will they be able to return? Is this something they should even explore?
No, there will be sleeper cells in the United States. They're not going to go anywhere. They're going to be within the United States, and they'll be handling. They'll be not necessarily. I mean, it's called spying. They'll just be monitoring the United States on behalf of Russia, and they'll be getting rewarded for it. But then the question is, if the American country is as far as becoming one for profit, so who's to stop somebody else from making profit from their position? Elon Musk is doing it, so why shouldn't they? And he doesn't care about the security of the country, because if he does, he won't be selling silly emails, asking people to tell him what 5 things they achieved in the course of a week. Oh, by the way, my 5 things. I made coffee. I didn't add sugar. I had more than my fair share of cake. Okay. And yes, I tried to fix the office printer, but for some reason it just won't happen.
And brand does it start with an H and end with a P?
Yeah.
Oh no, sir.
Listen. It's a worldwide problem.
Yeah, they need to do something about their printers.
And last but final, I did promise. I managed this week not to talk to Michelle standing by the water cooler. So that's my 5 things.
What did I accomplish this week? I showed up here every day on time. Showing up for coffee and tow. 2, doing, updating the website, right? 3, getting on TikTok live. Yay. 4, housework. 5, gardening. That's what I did. Is that okay?
That counts.
Listen, I have to account for what I do, right? Next up, UAE awards 16,500 golden visa. So gold visa is the thing of the day. It's the order of the day. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this one. UAE awards 16,500 gold visas to outstanding students and specialists. This article, courtesy of tribune.com.pk, in an important move to bolster the education sector, the UAE has granted golden residency to 16,456 outstanding students and educational specialists. This is according to the Federal Authority for Identity and Citizenship, Customs, and Port Security. Among the recipients, top performing high school students make up the largest group, with 10,710 students benefiting from the long-term visa. This is followed by 5,246 graduates from accredited universities within the UAE, 337 education specialists, 147 graduates from global institutions, and 16 elite scholars in the field of education. The announcement was made by Major General Khalid, who is the Director General of the ICP, on the occasion of Emirati Education Day, which was observed on February 28. He emphasized that the UAE remains at the forefront of global education, with policies designed to nurture talent and equip students with the latest knowledge and skills. Is that a good thing? So did he get the idea from us, or did we get the idea from him for the golden visa? It's just that ours comes with a price tag. Because this article is dated March 1st. When did we get our announcement? Around the same time, no? Just wondering. All right, next up. Africa's richest man never buys cars and drives himself despite owning 30% of Nigeria. Adesoji, you should be able to confirm or deny this for us. We're talking about the one and only Aliko Dangote, whose name has been circulating in the news quite a bit lately. According to express.co.uk, you might think the richest man in Africa would flash his cash more, but Aliko Dangote is not that type of billionaire. The Nigerian business magnate, estimated to be worth over $10 billion, buys a new car every 8 years and drives himself between business meetings. Listed by Forbes as a Chinese company, by the way, listed by Forbes as a billionaire in 2008, Dangote's story is no rags to riches tale. Some have labeled the business magnate ruthless despite his partnerships with Bill Gates to fight against polio and malnutrition. The richest black billionaire in the world, Dangote, is something of a classic industrialist. He started off trading flour and sugar, but now his assets make up 30% of Nigeria's total public value market. For comparison, giant corporations like Microsoft and Apple each make up only 7% of the US's market value. The Dangote Group is now one of the biggest employers in Africa. When he launched plans for his mega oil refinery, he said, nobody will come and develop this economy, only us. By 2025, Nigeria is expected to become the continent's biggest refined oil exporter. He said, when we start, the others will see, and then they will follow. Adding, so we need to take charge of the continent, or the continent's economy will never work. Is there? Take care, Tasha. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for supporting Coffee and Toe. Thank you for being a part of Coffee and Toe, Tasha. Have a wonderful day. Be safe out there in them streets. All right. Adesoji, yeah, nay, truth, lie. What's up? Is he as simple as they're making him out to be in this article? Adesoji probably can't talk, but it's best to get it from the one who would know. Adesoji, of course. Dangote was born in Kano, the second largest city in the Muslim north. He was 3 years old when Nigeria gained independence and 10 when civil war broke out. Before, there were a series of military dictatorships and brief democratic governments. His great-great-grandfather traded in nuts and was the richest man in the country. When he died, Dangote's granddad took over the business. When he was just 9 years old, Dangote's dad died. He was taken into the care of his granddad, who noticed his grandson was already showing a flair for business. At primary school, Dangote would sell sweets, delegate sales, and take a cut of his merchants' profits. He said, when you're raised by an entrepreneurial parent or grandparent, you pick up that aspiration. It makes you much more aggressive to think that anything is possible. All right, Dangote. If the story is true, and because I haven't got my confirmation or denial from Adesoji, I will say good for you. It's best to move quietly. It is best to be humble. Live a simple life. Number one, when you're flashy, the truth is you draw attention to yourself. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. People turn heads when they see a particular vehicle, or if you're dressed a certain way, you are going to get the attention. Some attention is going to be good, some not so good. Some of the attention that you're going to get can bring safety and security concerns, right? You are going about your business, not being a harm to anyone, but people will see you as a threat, or unfortunately, you have so many people who are desirous of having what you have and can cause you great harm. So yes, there are many folks who are of means who will tell you the simpler you move, the better it is. The less attention you draw to yourself, the better when you talk about your safety and your security. So yeah, I like that. like that. All right, next up, those are our, well, that's it. We're done with stories on the international scene. We have stories out of North America coming up now. Coming up. I want to say thank you to everyone listening on QMZRadio.com for quality music while you work or play. Keep it logged on to www.qmzradio.com for that good music to get you through your day. Thank you to everyone listening on JanoRadio.com, the non-stop party vibe station. Don't forget to download the Jano Radio app. It's available in your Apple and Google Play stores. Jano Radio, take us on the go. And a big thank you to everyone listening on madmusichouse.com, any genre, anytime. And of course, I have to say thank you to everyone watching on YouTube Live. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you to our newest subscriber. Thank you. We appreciate you. And that subscription came from TikTok. So I want to say thank you to everyone watching on the TikTok Live. Appreciate that. Thank you for the likes so far. Continue to tap up the screen. The next goal is 3,000 likes. And we're almost there. We're almost there. So just keep tapping up, keep tapping up, keep tapping up. All right. So stories out of North America. Oh, and before I forget, oh my gosh, how could I forget? How could I forget? Head on over to coffeeintow.com. That's www.coffeeintow.com. When you're there, go to the shop tab, and I invite you to click on the link for lormelskinfood.com. There you can find all your 100% organic, natural skincare and hair care products for both men and women, not just for women, for men and women. Hair care products, skin products, or I should say oils, hair oils, 100% organic, skincare products such as body butters, oils, soaps, scrubs, lotions, everything. It's all there for you. So click the link for lormelskinfood.com, LAURMEL. Also, take advantage of a discount of 20% off all coffee products. Use the code CoffeeIntow20 by clicking on the link for www.grandcoffeehouse.com. So shop today, grandcoffeehouse.com, and get 20% off all coffee products. Just use the code CoffeeIntow20. All right. So let's keep it moving. As I said, what was that? Stories out of North America. Okay, here we go. Let's see what's interesting here in the wonderful country of North America. Oh, I have a video. Yes, the first up is a video with regards to the U.S. The contemplation surrounding leaving NATO. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this one.
We have some big news right now. Elon Musk is now calling for the United States to leave not just NATO, which is the most critical security alliance of the 21st century, but also to leave the United Nations. Musk has now publicly talked about how he supports the United States leaving the United Nations and leaving NATO, essentially abandoning the world stage for good. NATO is an alliance that was formed in order to protect Europe and the United States from Russian aggression following the Cold War. The United Nations is an intergovernmental organization with the goal of promoting international security and peace, developing friendly relations among nations around the world, and achieving international cooperation. Leaving the United Nations and leaving NATO would be a historic departure from American precedent and would essentially alienate America on the world stage. We'll see if Donald Trump, Elon Musk's superior, agrees with him. I'll do a full breakdown on what.
I don't know. I'm not sure that is something that should happen. I think that is something they may want to mull through carefully. Think about it carefully. Yep. So NATO, just a little history about NATO. NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization, a military alliance that was formed in 1949. Its purpose is to protect the security of its member countries. which are located in Europe and North America. So, how was NATO formed? NATO was created by the United States, Canada, and several Western European countries. It was the first peacetime military alliance that the United States joined outside of the Western Hemisphere. The organization's headquarters are in Brussels, Belgium. And the question then is, so what does NATO do? NATO responds to crises, including conflicts, natural disasters, and humanitarian emergencies. NATO also helps prevent crises through diplomatic means and by deterring aggression. NATO works with non-member countries on political and security issues. NATO has missions in the Balkans, the Mediterranean, and Afghanistan. What are key NATO principles? The core of NATO is Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, which states that an attack against one member is an attack against all. NATO member countries consult and make decisions on security issues by consensus. So the question is, can the US stand alone if they withdraw from NATO? I feel if they withdraw, more countries will join NATO. And I think that puts us in a peculiar situation. Just my humble thoughts. Just my humble thoughts. I think don't be so quick to jump the gun and be up for withdrawing from NATO, which of course was created again by the US, Canada, and several Western European countries. No man is an island. No man can stand alone. We all need each other, right? At some point, we're going to need help. By withdrawing, I think we're leaving ourselves vulnerable because then what? Folks are probably going to look and say, let them go and fight them own battle. You know how we stay as humans, right? No, sir. Cockroach, now this is in a fall fight. Now we're left to figure it out on our own. We might be missing out on important intel. Information is key. So, me personally, I would think carefully about that. Don't just jump up under that. Hold on, let me jump to the chat here. Where is Lee Harvey Oswald when you need him? Just getting 3 letters. All right, next up, from Alaska to Maine. Communities that border Canada worry U.S. tariffs come at a personal cost. This article, courtesy of apnews.com, at the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa, a quote from former President Ronald Reagan, is engraved on one wall. Let the 5,000-mile border between Canada and the United States stand as a symbol for the future. That's what Reagan said upon signing a 1988 Free Trade Pact. This pact was signed with America's northern neighbor, Canada. Let it forever be not a point of division, but a meeting place between our great and true friends. But a point of division is here. On Tuesday, President Donald Trump plans to impose a 25% tariff on most imported Canadian goods and a 10% tariff on Canadian oil and gas. Mexico is also facing a 25% tariff. Canada has said it will retaliate with a 25% import tax on a multitude of American products, including wine, cigarettes, and shotguns. The tariffs have touched off a range of emotions along the world's longest international border, where residents and industries are closely intertwined. Ranchers in Canada rely on American companies for farm equipment and export cattle and hogs to U.S. meat processors. U.S. consumers enjoy thousands of gallons of Canadian maple syrup each year. Canadian dogs and cats dine on U.S.-made pet food. The trade dispute will have far-reaching spillover effects, from price increases and paperwork backlogs to longer wait times at the U.S.-Canada border for both people and products. These industries on both sides are built up out of a cross-border relationship, and disruption will play out on both sides. Well, you know how everybody loves their dogs, right? Let's see if there will be an appeal made using the dogs. But I'll tell you, Canadians, no more about the pet food. Here's a little thing. We in the islands, I can speak for Jamaica. We do some turn cornmeal. Yeah, boil up some hot water, throw some cornmeal in there. And if you're having a little leftover chicken or any little meat, just pick it up and put it in there. Mix it up with the cornmeal and feed the pet. Introduce it to them slowly. It's the best meal the dog will have. Season it up with just a little bit of salt. Not too much things. Yeah. I mean, there are alternatives. Not because you won't be able to afford to give your dogs the bag food or the tinned food or the wet food. The dog not gonna feel hungry. Slowly introduce your dog to homemade food that you can prepare for yourself for the dog too. I see 1,000 videos all over TikTok where people are preparing homemade meals for their dogs, especially. Buy you some steak, carrots, broccoli, peas, eggs. I don't think y'all have egg issues up there because we saw some photos the other day. Y'all are paying like $3 something for eggs. Y'all are good. But eggs and put that together for your animals. Don't worry about the pet food if you think the 25% is going to be unaffordable for you. You'll be just fine. Yeah. All right. Next up. Inside Florida's brewing condo crisis as property values drop in once coveted retirement haven. Let me say this. Don't panic, Floridians. Do not panic. Do not panic. When you invest in real estate in Florida, you're in it for the long haul. Real estate, remember what happened in 2000, was it 2008 when President Obama came into office? Yeah. Or did it crash before he came in and then he had to work to regain the confidence? Don't worry, it's a cycle. Whatever goes up comes down. Whatever comes down is gonna go back up as it relates to real estate. If I'm wrong, you can let me know I am wrong. But do not worry, folks. Do not worry at all. You'll be just fine. Okay? You'll be fine. So, this article comes to us courtesy of nypost.com. A slow motion crisis is unfolding in Florida's condo market, threatening to upend the state's image as a haven for retirees and reasonably priced beach living. Owners of the state's older condos are bracing for steep special assessments while racing to sell their homes and receiving only tepid buyer response. Amid a property market that's still vibrant for nearly every other segment, Florida's aging condominiums are losing value, and nearly 1,400 buildings are now blacklisted from receiving mortgage financing, making those apartments an even tougher sell. At the heart of this turmoil is a basic reality. Oh, almost lapsed. Missed that again. At the heart of this turmoil is a basic reality. Florida's aging condo buildings desperately need repairs, and state officials are forcing them to assess and pay for those long overdue upgrades. Under a law enacted after the tragic 2021 collapse of Chaplin Towers South, and if you remember, that was in Surfside, which saw 98 people losing their lives, condo boards may no longer defer major structural improvements to another day or decade. The Building Safety Act required every condo tower in Florida aged 30 years or older to complete a structural integrity study by the end of 2024. This is so that they can get a full grasp of what problems need fixing. This year, the tab for those repairs comes due. Condo boards must now set aside funds to fix the issues found in those studies, from concrete restoration to balcony overhauls. And the assessments on individual condo owners are looking pricey and unsettling. So let me ask a question. Over the years, all that money that was collected, HOA dues, what to do with the money? Weren't you supposed to be, besides insurance, right? Weren't you supposed to be maintaining these structures? You would think that there would be a yearly audit or an inspection. Let me switch out. This is not financial now. This is structural. Shouldn't there be a structural review of the building where you have engineers come in and do a sweep from top to bottom or from bottom to top, starting at the foundation, seeing to it that everything is in place? Because if you maintain yearly, you won't be hit so hard. And of course, assessments can be as low as $250 a month, up to $2,500 a month. And you can't expect, well, not all condo owners, especially if you're talking about the older folks. It's not that easy to find $250, much less $2,500 a month for a 3-year stretch. Come on. Come on. Because, hold on, where's my calculator? Because if on the low end, you're talking about 250 times 36. That's $9,000 over 3 years. Or if it's $2,500, that's 90,000. 90,000. Who's going to put up $90,000 in assessments? You know something? A lot of homeowners associations, in my opinion, have got away with murder. They charge these assessments and they're not maintaining the properties. Last year we had a series of homeowners association issues coming to the forefront. Some of the board members are sitting in jail. They were arrested and charged for theft of homeowner association due to the amount of fraud that existed. I'm not a fan of HOAs. I've lived in an HOA. Don't like it. And I'll never live in one again. So help me God. Not a fan of it. Yes, they do. There are some benefits, but with the landscape what it is right now, that's all I must say. All right, next up, Trump makes English the official language of the U.S. Y'all better learn to speak English if you don't speak it already and sharpen up your skills. Okay, hold on. Before I forget, let me jump to the chat on YouTube. I'm so behind here. Forgive me, folks. Canada is still being nice. Their tariffs will affect red states. Yes, heavily. Because the truth of the matter is this, folks. The red states here in the United States of America are the poorest states. The red states benefit from blue states paying into the federal government. Yes, they do. Right? Many of those persons who are dependent on assistance to live are in the red states. The majority of them are in red states. So yeah, they will be affected. Buy the dip if you can. The blacklist building is an attempt to allow investors to buy the property cheap, getting ready for golden green card investors. I like that you said investors because they're not going to be living there. They're going to take over, renovate, do whatever they must, and then turn around and rent it to you at prices that we can ill afford. Yeah, you're on the money, AT. You're on the money. All right, so this article, courtesy of BBC.com, President Donald Trump has signed an executive order making English the official language of the United States. It means government agencies and organizations that receive federal funding can choose whether they want to offer documents and services in languages other than English. It rescinds a policy that required such bodies to provide language assistance to non-English speakers, signed by former President Bill Clinton in 2000. Establishing English as the official language will not only streamline communication, but also reinforce shared national values and create a more cohesive and efficient society. This marks the first time the U.S. has designated an official language at the federal level since the country was founded almost 250 years ago. It is noted in the order that agencies do not need to change, remove, or stop offering any such assistance they already provide. In welcoming new Americans, a policy of encouraging the learning and adoption of our national language will make the United States a shared home and empower new citizens to achieve the American dream, the order reads. Speaking English not only opens doors economically, but it helps newcomers engage in their communities, participate in national traditions, and give back to our society. It also says it celebrates the long tradition of multilingual American citizens who have learned English and passed it to their children for generations to come. Nearly 68 million of the country's 340 million residents speak a language other than English. That is according to the US Census Bureau. This includes more than 160 Native American languages. Spanish, various Chinese languages, and Arabic are among the languages spoken the most after English, according to the Census Bureau. Republicans have previously tried to get English designated as the US's official language, with members of the House introducing legislation that failed in 2021. Those who opposed their efforts said an official language was not necessary, given the high numbers of people who speak English without it being designated as such. They're also establishing one could promote discrimination against non-English speakers. During his presidential campaign in 2024, Trump referenced non-English languages while calling for stricter immigration policies. I think we're going to have to be really careful with this one. Yep. More than 30 US states have designated English as the official language, while Alaska and Hawaii have also given official status to several native languages. Here's what I don't want us to do, folks. We don't want to alienate anyone in our day-to-day encounters, right, and engagement. We don't want to alienate anyone. We don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable, right? Remember how we felt as foreigners in another man's land, right? Everybody's not going to know English automatically because they're coming from a country where English is not the primary tongue. So let us be empathetic, right? And my fear is that amongst what is already going on, people are going to be saying, speak English, you live in the United States of America. Let us not engage in that. Let us not do that. Let us be compassionate. Let us be empathetic towards others. All right. That's what I'll say. And I'm saying that because, yeah, I'm from Jamaica. We have some Jamaicans who, when them speak, is pat for them, I gotta talk to you in. And, you know, yes, they understand English, but truth be told, some of them do struggle with speaking proper English. And you don't want to alienate them. And proper English is something that was institutionalized via colonialism. Remember that colonialism made English the language that is spoken around the world primarily. However, I'll stop right there. I will stop right there. All right, next up, I think I played this one earlier, so we don't need to go over this one, where Elon Musk supports U.S. withdrawal from NATO and the United Nations. Just to bring up to speed, President Donald Trump's close confidant and billionaire backer, Elon Musk, has supported a call for the U.S. to withdraw from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, otherwise known as NATO, and the United Nations. In a post on Saturday night, Musk endorsed a suggestion from ex-user Gunther Eagleman, who wrote, "It's time to leave NATO and the UN." So why does it matter? Musk's influential relationship with Trump is well documented, and his backing of the idea adds weight to growing skepticism within the administration toward international alliances. The Trump administration has been critical of NATO, with the president frequently questioning its value and pushing allies to increase defense spending. Of course, we know that Musk leads the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, otherwise known as DOGE, and is focused on cutting federal spending and has already dismantled multiple federal agencies. All right. Just a headline on this one: an immigrant neighborhood in New York, I think it's called Corona, was once a vibrant New York City enclave, and it's home to generations of Latino immigrants. Because of the threat of mass deportations, many residents are afraid to go outside because of the fear of ICE raids. It's a shame that, people have to live that way. It truly is a shame. On the chat here on YouTube, they can now really discriminate non-fluent English speaking people at job interviews. Yes. So AT, my question is it that we're no longer going to engage in international trade? Yeah, we have to be so careful, because you do need a mix. Let me use that word, a mix. Right? I don't want to get flagged again. We do need a mix of people if we are going to be engaging in the global trade market. If we are not, fine, by all means, do your thing, right? Because what we cannot do is force people outside of the US to speak English and tell them if they want to engage with us, they have to speak English. You can't force another country to change, And you want to know that you don't miss out on any opportunities out there to strengthen our economy. Lot of implications. We just have to be careful how we move, is what I'll say. All right, up next, business and tech news. Ooh, all right. We're moving along nicely. 11 minutes after the top of the hour. Let me say a big thank you once again to everyone listening on QMZRadio.com for quality music while you work or play. Our listeners on JanoRadio.com, the nonstop party vibe station, and to our listeners on MadMusicHouse.com, any genre, anytime. Of course, a big thank you to everyone right here with me on YouTube Live and everyone here with me on TikTok Live. Yay! All right, we're getting the hang of things. I'm getting the hang of things, getting a little more comfortable with navigating the spaces. We're getting there. All right. Trade will always be. Someone is going to make money no matter what language. All right. Okay. AT. Okay. You're right. Where there's a will, there is a way. Not TikTok. No TikTok talk there. Okay. On to business and tech news. And first up out of that segment, Skype is shutting down after 2 decades. I used to use Skype a lot. A whole lot. It was the thing to use, right? Well, according to CNN.com, Microsoft is shutting down Skype, the internet-based phone and video service that was once the dominant way of staying connected in the mid-2000s. Skype will no longer be available to start, and that is going to be starting in May. The company made the confirmation on X, telling users that their login information can be used on Microsoft Teams free tier in the coming days. Skype's shutdown comes 14 years after Microsoft bought the service for $8.5 billion in cash, marking the company's largest ever acquisition at the time. Microsoft integrated the service into other products such as Office and its ill-fated mobile operating service. Damn, y'all are harsh. Windows Phone. Skype has been an integral part of shaping modern communications and supporting countless meaningful moments. And we are honored to have been a part of the journey, said Jeff Teeper, president of Microsoft 365 Collaborative Apps and Platforms. We're excited about the new opportunities that Teams bring, and we're committed to helping you stay connected in new and meaningful ways. I have never used Microsoft Teams. If you have, drop a comment either on YouTube or here on TikTok. Never used it. Now you're forced to explore other options for those of you who were reliant on Skype, but its popularity has faded. I think Zoom, Google Meet, Cisco WebEx. Never heard about Cisco WebEx, but Zoom and Google Meet, yes. But even more, WhatsApp. Can they compete with WhatsApp? I think WhatsApp is the number one way to communicate now for free on a global scale. Well, if you're in the Western Hemisphere, I can't speak for everyone else. But if you're in the Western Hemisphere, WhatsApp, it's supposed to be encrypted. Supposed to be. Say that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I'm just wondering, I don't know. Is it even worth it for them to get in to blow up Teams? I don't know. I don't think they can compete with WhatsApp. I really don't think so. But anyway, yeah, Skype launched in 2003. A little, backstory to them. They launched in 2003 in Estonia and quickly caught on as a way to make free calls worldwide. A notable perk considering international calling on traditional phones used to be expensive. Oh, not used to be, it's still expensive. Try call Jamaica from the US using AT&T straight. And you see how quick you get a shock attack. The service quickly became popular, leading eBay to buy it in 2005 for $2.6 billion. However, the partnership did not work out, and eBay sold its 65% stake in Skype to an investor group for $1.9 billion. That's a loss right there. Before Microsoft bought it in 2011. All right, so Daddy I go keep for Skype. So WhatsApp and Signal are encrypted. Thank you, AT. And AT says, I don't like Teams, just another privacy intrusion. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna be having a dead yard 9 night. If you know, you know. We're having a 9 night for Skype in May. Yeah, because I'm gonna shut down in a May. So yeah, funeral I gotta keep. Lord have mercy, let me behave myself. But we Jamaicans, we extra bad. But yeah, then I gotta keep for that one. Then next up, US saw trade record deficit in 2024. This is not looking good for us, guys. And I think it's gonna get worse in 2025. Article courtesy of convenience.org. The U.S. trade deficit in goods hit a record $1.2 trillion last year as American consumers snapped up imported products and a strong U.S. dollar weighed on export growth, according to the New York Times. Data released Wednesday morning by the Commerce Department showed that U.S. imports of goods and services grew 6.6% to a record $4.1 trillion as Americans bought large amounts of auto parts, weight loss drugs, computers, and food from other countries. U.S. exports of goods and services to the world also hit a record, reaching $3.2 trillion in 2024, as written in the Times. In 2024, a strong U.S. dollar made it more expensive for other countries to buy American products, and the United States sold fewer cars, car parts, and industrial supplies like raw materials and machinery to the world. According to the Times, America's total trade deficit in goods and services, which consists of exports minus imports, grew 17% to $918.4 billion. U.S. oil exports surged, pushing the petroleum surplus to a record $44.9 billion. The United States recorded its largest trade deficit in goods with China at $295.4 billion, followed by the European Union, Mexico, Vietnam, and Ireland. Still, economists said the trends were driven largely by the strong performance of the U.S. economy last year, especially compared with the rest of the world. Trade deficit, though. We were importing more than we were exporting. Now, with the tariffs going in place, how is that going to play out? How is that going to play out? Imports are going to go down, yes, but are we going to have everything we need? Highly doubt it. I think we're going to see people slowing down their spending habits. Yeah, consumerism is in for, well, consumers are in for a wake up call. Consumerism is going to slow, I feel, for 2025. Do I think it's going to last? No. And the reason I don't think it is going to last is because eventually the CEOs are going to be knocking on the doors of the White House, right? If they're not making money, the US isn't making money, right? We need money, the world to go right around. We need money to go around. One hand wash the other, scratch my back, I scratch yours. I be careful when I say somebody get flagged by TikTok again. But yeah, we have to be careful with this. But I foresee the CEOs showing up in Washington and saying, no, you're going to have to reverse this. It is not good for business. We're losing money. Our things are not selling at the rate that they ought to. And if there are no sales, there's no tax revenue to generate, whether at the state level or the federal level. There's no tax. We have nothing to pay over to you. There's a reduction. And talking about reduction, I saw an article that was talking about, I want to say robots. I'm trying to see if I can find it again. But humanoid robots are starting to work human warehouse jobs. Now, it's a double-edged sword, right? Robots can help with regard to the heavy work. Let me put it that way, right? Heavy lifting to work alongside you. But you got to be careful, because if you are going to cut down, let's say, from a staff of 100 and only have 10 people, and in your mind you're saying, you know what, I'm able to increase my corporate gains, I'm able to increase my profit margin because I'm saving on human resources, I'm not having to spend on human resources. If everybody takes that stance, if every company takes that stance, you know, at some point you're going to choke yourself, because you're going to be producing for whom? Who's going to be consuming? The robots? So the robots are going to be making these things, and the people that you're making them for can't afford to buy them. So aren't you like cutting off your foot? That's just me rationalizing and reasoning things out from a common sense layman standpoint. If there's nobody with a job to purchase the things that I'm manufacturing and putting out there on the shelves, what's the purpose of manufacturing? The 10 people? To just 10 people? 90 people now can't buy nothing. And when there is joblessness, and I know we've had the conversation several times, this is where we have to pivot. We need to secure positions within the tech world. But everybody's not technically inclined or IT inclined. So now you're going to be forcing people into things that they're not happy with. We already have enough depression in this country, right? We don't want people just existing. We want them living. We want them, whatever it is that they're doing, is what they will enjoy. You know, so we got to be mindful. Again, I'm okay with the robots as long as they're working alongside me to help me finish my work sooner, or to help me with the heavy tasks. I'll just leave it right there. Tomorrow we'll dive more into that article. But yeah, let's be careful with that. Next up on the business and tech scene. See, I'm here jumping all over the place. Let me get back to today. What else do we have in business and tech news for you? Coming up, folks. Coming right up. Okay. Treasury Secretary says Ukraine economic deal is not on the table after Zelensky chose to blow that up. According to CBSNews.com, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Sunday said that an economic deal with Ukraine is not currently on the table after the contentious Oval Office meeting between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. All President Zelensky had to do was come in and sign this economic agreement and again show no daylight between Ukrainian people and the American people. And he chose to blow that up. The signing of a key economic agreement was abruptly cancelled on Friday, and Zelensky's visit was cut short after the meeting devolved into a feud between the Ukrainian president on one side and Mr. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance on the other. Zelensky was ultimately asked to leave the White House, and the multi-billion-dollar critical mineral deal went unsigned. Friday's heated exchange came after Zelensky expressed doubt over whether Russian President Vladimir Putin would honor a potential peace agreement following repeated violations of previous ceasefire deals. Meanwhile, peace negotiations to end the war between Russia and Ukraine are not yet underway, though Trump repeatedly pledged to bring an end to the war promptly after taking office. Still, Zelensky said on social media on Saturday that Ukraine is ready to sign the minerals agreement, calling it the first step towards security guarantees, while noting that the country needs more assurances. A ceasefire without security guarantees is dangerous for Ukraine, Zelensky said. We've been fighting for 3 years, and Ukrainian people need to know that America is on our side. I don't know. So this is an update because I did not know. I had no clue that he's changing his stance. Okay. Let's see how it plays out this week. Let's see what happens this week. We'll see. All right. Welcome back to Solo. Welcome back. And that is our business and tech news brought to you by Grant Coffee House. Log on to grantcoffeehouse.com and shop today. Get 20% off all coffee products. Just use the code CoffeeInto20. Again, get 20% off all coffee products. Use the code CoffeeInto20 when you shop today on grantcoffeehouse.com. Coming up next, I'm learning something here. Thank you for this, AT. I didn't see this one. Teams by Microsoft is used in military and business, so you can't separate your private life. Oh, okay. Got to be careful with that. All right. Thank you so much, TikTok. We attained our 3,000 like goal. Can we make it to 4,000 by the top of the hour? Let's see if we can make it to 4,000 by then. Thank you. But you can't please people, You get them an inch, them want a mile. You get them a mile, them want 10. That's how we are as humans. But I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for tapping up the screen. Thank you. All right, now it's time for our health and science news. And this segment is brought to you by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com, LAURMEL, and discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. Coming up tomorrow in our health and science segment, aiding natural pollination can boost cacao yields and climate resilience. And this is when we're talking about cocoa, as we say, the cacao yields. All right. So that's coming up tomorrow. But today, how much water do you actually need to drink every day for your health? This one comes to us courtesy of CNET. Let's go ahead and hear what this article has to say. No matter what the temperature or weather is like in your area, you should be drinking this much water daily. Whether you're still feeling the chill of winter or are beginning to notice the warmth of spring, it's important to drink water every day. This is especially the case if you exercise, have an active job, are pregnant or breastfeeding, or live in a hot climate. After all, water's health benefits include helping your body maintain temperature and get rid of waste, lubricating joints, and protecting your spinal cord and other sensitive tissues. Well, how much water should you drink each day? We're all familiar with the old saying of drink 8 glasses of water at 8 ounces each every day. I've never done that. I don't think I've never done that. It's the 8 by 8 rule that guides us to drink 64 ounces, about 1.9 liters of water each day. Many of us have blindly followed this advice for our entire lives, not knowing where it came from or why we need 8 glasses of water. Well, apparently, the 8 by 8 rule came out of a void because there's no scientific evidence to back it up. It's just another one of those long standing myths that people believe because that's what everyone believes. Drinking 64 ounces of water each day isn't a bad thing, but it could be too much or not enough for some people. Then all my life, when me hear people I say 8 ounces, 8 times a day, I really thought it was scientific. You see why we mustn't just follow for the okie doke. You see why it's important for us to do our research, ask questions. All right. Other guidelines exist, but there's still no true consensus. There's no formal recommendation for how much water people should drink every day, perhaps because everyone needs different amounts of water. An adequate intake of water for adult men and women does exist, but it can vary from person to person. This adequate intake includes water from non water beverages such as milk, sports drinks, teas, and yes, even coffee. Yes, I get my water from my coffee. Yes, thank you. It also includes water from fruits, vegetables, and other foods. Think of how much water goes into a bowl of oats or soup. They're saying, according to this article, the adequate intake is 15.5 cups or 125 ounces for men and 91 ounces for women. How you choose to consume these 125 or 91 ounces of fluid is up to you, although this is the closest figure we have to a recommended daily intake. And remember, even these numbers differ for each person based on their health condition. All right, folks. So it's a guide, it's not a rule. Okay? Let's be cognizant of that. What Mr. President has to intake is not what my intake is. What RoSolo's intake is not what my intake is. Right? And vice versa. It all depends too on our lifestyle. Lifestyle can determine how much we actually need. All right. So I guess case by case, is this something we probably talk to our healthcare or nutritionist about, healthcare provider or nutritionist about? All right. If you have an active job and if you exercise often, if you live in a hot climate, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, you may need more water, right? But staying hydrated is important at the end of the day. Drink when you're thirsty. Drink when you're thirsty, folks. Do not ignore that. But yeah, drink when you're thirsty. Drinking a glass of water, sorry, with your meals is good. In between meals, that's good too, they're saying. Yeah, so experiment with it. At the end of the day, experiment with hydration techniques so that you can find out what works best for you. Right? So remember, not because Miss Donna do it means say me I go do it. Or what work for Miss Donna go work for me. And that's the thing go. All right. As long as you're not battling chronic fatigue, headaches, or other signs of dehydration, you're probably doing a pretty good job, right? As a fail-safe, you can always determine whether you are under or overhydrated based on the color of your urine. And I know there's a chart for that. We can all access that on what you call it, Google, or whatever search engine you use. That information is available for us. All right. What the color of your urine should be. And again, your urine color may not, don't be alarmed if it's not what you see on the scale, because if you're taking supplements or what you call it, antibiotics, medication, um, minerals and vitamins, so on and so forth, even what you have just eaten, what you've just consumed, can affect the color of your urine. So be mindful of that as well. All right. Let us pay attention to that. So don't go crazy or berserk when the colors are not matching up, or you see a color that looks like something that you ought to be concerned about. All right. Okay, so that is it for Health and Science News segment, brought to you by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com for a natural, beautiful you. And we have this one. Very, I must say, trigger warning on this. A mother has been charged after allegedly allowing men to SA her daughter for liquor. Let me tell you something now. Mega said this unapologetically. And everybody's supposed to be a mother. And everybody's supposed to be a mother. Some people have no business being a mother. And I get it. Hurt people hurt people. But there's also a thing called common sense. There's something called common sense. You are supposed to be the ultimate protector of your child. Anyway, let me go ahead and get into the article before I start going off on a rant. This article comes to us courtesy of nationwideradiojm.com. A 45-year-old Manchester woman has been charged with trafficking her child after she's alleged to have allowed multiple men to blank her 13-year-old daughter in exchange for liquor. The name of the woman is being withheld to protect the identity of her daughter. It's alleged the woman took the child to a bar in September 2020 to get alcoholic beverages. She reportedly could not pay for the liquor and offered the child as payment. It's unclear exactly how many were involved in the situation. The child managed to flee her home, and a report was made to the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. Following an investigation by detectives assigned to the Trafficking in Persons Unit of Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch, CTOC, the mother was arrested and charged. She faces up to 30 years in prison. Yes. Head of the Trafficking in Persons Unit, Detective Inspector Kamisha Gordon, has condemned the incident. She says the police remain committed to pursuing those who prey on the vulnerable. This is a serious matter, and we were unrelenting in our efforts to bring the accused into custody. Human trafficking is a violation of human rights that destroys lives and communities. No child should be subjected to exploitation, and no perpetrator should go unpunished. This arrest underscores our commitment to the safety of children and all citizens against human trafficking. A trafficker does not have a face, a particular way of dressing, neither are they of a specific gender. They are often people you know and may even be someone you live with in the same household. The police are working to identify and apprehend the other individuals involved in the crime. Yes, them need for going to, and them need for lock up for 30 years, because how can you as a grown person really look on this pitney and think it okay? Think it okay to take advantage of a child and say, yes, this will satisfy as payment for the liquor what the mother can't drink. Mothers, we have to do better. We have complained about fathers failing their daughters or failing their children. We should not be failing our children either. We brought them into this world. We're the ones who are supposed to be nurturing them, loving them, guiding them, protecting them, not abusing them, taking advantage of them, exchanging them for liquor. Do I personally think 30 years is enough? No. She don't need to see the light of day again. She don't need to come out for subjecting her daughter to this. I'm glad the child was able to flee her home. I'm glad she was able to make the report to the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. But now we need the men to be identified who took part in this atrocity. We need them to be held responsible. They need to be brought forward and brought to justice. And them too need 30 years or more. And I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, these perpetrators, they have daughters too. And them quick to tell you how if anybody do what and what to them daughter, what and what them will do to the people, them. Wickedness can't done, me I tell you. Can't done. How can you? She can't be of sound mind. And then, not even nobody at all in the bar. Nobody, not one person could have stand up and said, no, this wrong. What you doing, you idiot? Nobody could step in. Nobody. Oh, Father. I pray this young girl will be rehabilitated. I pray that she will be placed in a home, in a family that will love her, show her what it is to be loved by a parent, to be protected, to be cared for. I hope she will be able to heal from this. There are so many battered and bruised people walking around, damaged people walking around mentally, physically, emotionally, because of the atrocities that happened to them, the egregious things that happened to them when they were children. And it happened to them by the people that should love them the most. Not see them as something to barter in exchange for a drink. Next up, this is our final story of the day. It's time for us to go into the brew entertainment news. And this one is so sad, really sad. Last thing I was expecting to hear, Angie Stone. Beautiful voice, powerful voice. Really sad. So this article, courtesy of npr.org. The music world and saddened fans are mourning the sudden loss of Angie Stone. The Grammy-nominated R&B singer died Saturday morning in a car crash in Montgomery, Alabama. She was 63. Stone's sultry voice resonated with multiple generations. She first entered the music scene professionally in the late 1970s as a member of the hip-hop trio, The Sequence. The group was one of the first all-female groups to release a rap single with Funk You Up in 1979. Stone is also remembered for her vocals as part of the R&B group Vertical Hold in the early 1990s. Stone earned the following of a new generation of fans during the emergence of the neo-soul era in the late 1990s and early 2000s with popular hits like No More Rain and Wish I Didn't Miss You. Neo-soul combines contemporary R&B and soul with other genres, including hip-hop and jazz. Stone's popularity grew alongside other popular neo-soul artists such as Erykah Badu and Musiq Soulchild. Her two children expressed shock over her unexpected death in a joint statement Stone's publicist shared with NPR on Sunday. Never in a million years did we ever expect to get this horrible news. Our mom is and will always be our everything, said her daughter Diamond Stone and her son Michael Archer, who Stone shared with singer-songwriter D'Angelo. We are still trying to process and are completely heartbroken. Stone, a native of Columbia, South Carolina, began singing gospel music as a child in church. This is according to a biography shared by her publicist. Her father would also take her to see gospel artists perform. Growing up, she wrote poetry and used her money saved from odd jobs to record demos at a local studio. The singer's solo career began after her time with the Sequence and Vertical Hold. The latter group reached the R&B Top 40 with Seems You're Much Too Busy in 1993. Stone signed with Arista Records as a solo artist and released her first album, Black Diamond, in 1999, which was certified gold. The album won her 2 Soul Train Lady of Soul awards. Stone's second album, Mahogany Soul, released in 2001, was a certified gold. She received her first of 3 career Grammy nominations for the album More Than a Woman. Her music won many more accolades and recognition. She also appeared in several movies and TV shows, including the 2003 film The Fighting Temptations and the sitcom Girlfriends. Stone also sang the theme song to Girlfriends. According to Stone's label SRG ILS, Stones was traveling back to Atlanta after performance the previous night in Mobile, Alabama. The Alabama Law Enforcement Agency says her Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van overturned on Interstate 65 before it was hit by a semi-truck. Stone, who was a passenger joined by other musicians, died at the scene. She was the only person who died. 8 other passengers in the van were injured. The crash is under investigation. Yeah. Stone was due to perform at a halftime for a college basketball championship game in Baltimore hours after the crash. In a video post to Instagram on February 17, Stone expressed excitement over the scheduled performances in Alabama and Baltimore, as well as a number of upcoming tours and projects. In addition to her 2 children, she is survived by 2 grandchildren. Ah, indeed, indeed, indeed. Beautiful. Thank you, Ja. Thank you, Ja. Beautiful, beautiful soul. On Wednesday, we will be honoring her through music. Every Wednesday, it is hashtag WCW right here on Coffee and Joe. And we honor our women through music. We celebrate women. Hashtag WCW. Every Wednesday, we do so through music. So from 9:15 to 9:30, we will be honoring the beautiful Angie Stone. Her beautiful voice. We will be playing her songs. So yeah. Yes, Ja. Everyone is questioning why she was the only one in the van who passed. Was it because she was calling out the record company? Yes, I saw many of those same comments. A lot of people are sharing those exact sentiments on social media, and it's a shame. Thank you, Dr. Sharon. Dr. Sharon says, I've been listening in the background in between patients. Yes, it's so sad. So sad. She will be missed, definitely. But I want to go back to your comment, Ja. I have seen so many comments saying the same thing. Saying the same thing. Everybody's questioning it. And not only that, people are connecting dots too. You know what I mean? They're revisiting Michael Jackson. They're revisiting Whitney Houston. They're revisiting Prince. There's somebody else. Oh my gosh, there's somebody else that they're revisiting. But yeah, they're bringing it all up, and they're saying something not right, something not sitting right in the whole thing. It's messed up. And it's yeah, you would think you'd hear about others in critical, even critical, not critical at all. No critical at all. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the likes. Yes, we could get it up to the 4,000 before we close out at the top of the hour. All right, thank you so much. Just keep tapping up the screen. But yeah, I have questions. I have some serious questions. But we wait to hear what they have to say at the end of the investigation. Let's see what them say. It's very suspicious. And all at a time when she was looking into demanding, not looking into, when she's demanding what is rightfully hers. What is rightfully hers? That is it. That's the part that is concerning. Very concerning indeed. Boy, it's such a shame that this is the age we live in, right? That we question things. Right. Thank you. We made it to the 4,000 likes. Yay! Tomorrow's goal is 5,000. Tomorrow's goal is 5,000. We made it. And guess what? We did set a goal that for this week, folks, we were going to have 25 new subscribers. Well, we're on our way. For this week, the goal is 25 new subscribers to the Coffee Into YouTube channel. And we're headed in the right direction. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for all the shares. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the follows here on TikTok. We are continuing to grow. Yes, and don't worry. Them are got, but how the song got them? I got tired for see with face. Them I got tired for see with face. Without a doubt, we are here to stay. We're definitely here to stay. And I must let you know. I know Mr. President always said to me, "Yeah, go on good, man. Yeah, go on good." Because on we are almost at 1,000. We're at 900 and something watch time hours on YouTube, and to accomplish that within just a little bit over a month of starting up on YouTube, seriously, I'm not gonna say tap all on yourself on the shoulder because you're all instrumental in that, all instrumental. And I say thank you. We're growing the channel, and very soon we will be a household name. And for us, we really take it seriously what we do. What we do, we put our heart into it. Yes, you might hear, you're gonna hear me say, yes, tap up the screen, we like the likes and stuff. However, what we're doing is coming from a place of being passionate about getting information. It's not just out there. It's not just about reading the news, but having conversation around the articles, dissecting them, bringing the truth out. Now, I understand I am in the learning phase, learning what you can and cannot say on YouTube, learning what you can and cannot say on TikTok, because I got flagged already on TikTok. And I recognize Adesoji brought to my attention exactly what it was, because they time stamped it. It was when we're talking about a particular country. So, we are learning, and we're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. We're going to figure it out, and we are going to learn alternatives. And if so, we just stay away. So I found with TikTok live over the weekend. So learning how to pin people as moderators. So far, I was hoping that with pinning someone as a moderator, once they join the live automatically, I wouldn't have to invite them automatically. It would happen. So now, just surfing and I'm tired. So now I have to figure out how that works. If there's a way, once you're a moderator, you automatically come up on the side. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna figure that out. But no, I have been able to mod. So RoSolo is automatically a mod. Adesoji, you're also a mod. Mr. President, Sean, Dr. Sharon also. So I'm figuring it out now, people. Give me about another week and I can talk to me. Have it down back. Yeah, we're gonna work it out, Ja. We're gonna work it out. Oh, we made it to the clap on ourselves. Just say our finger them tired over here on TikTok. AT says moments. I told you within a certain time you'll blow up. Things are looking good. Thank you, AT. Thank you so much, of course. And thank you to everybody else who is here with me on YouTube. Let me know who, besides AT, because that's the other thing. On YouTube, you don't know exactly who is live with you unless they are engaging. That's the only way to know. So I know AT is here with me. I know earlier Empress was here. I know Naturalist was over here earlier, and then he came on to TikTok. But let me know who else is here. Just put it in the chat. Who else is there up on YouTube live? Because I can't tell. It don't let me know. Unless there's a way for me to find out. I don't know. Huh. Unless there is a way for me to find out. But I saw it go. All right. So to my online listeners on QMZradio.com, JanoRadio.com, MadMusicHouse.com. This is where the internet radio live stream comes to an end. I want to say thank you so much for having tuned in. Want to wish you all a wonderful rest of the day. We will be back with you tomorrow morning, God willing, 9 a.m. Eastern. I invite you to head on over to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, share, leave a comment as the continues to grow. Oh, and before I go, coffeeinto.com is where you can go. We have so much information there. While you're in shop, lormelskinfood.com for your 100% organic hair and skincare products. You can also shop grantcoffeehouse.com and get 20% off all coffee products. Use the code COFFEEINTO20. On the resources page, we're going to be updating, but there are two deadlines that I want us to be mindful of. The first one is the 2025 Global Career Scholarship. Applications for the program close on March 7, 2025. All right. If you're in the Caribbean and you want to take advantage of a scholarship for you to go and study in South Korea, the opportunities there. Applications close March 7th. Also, there is a claim deadline in place of March the 7th for the reverse income tax credit. And this is for Jamaicans who qualified for this program, courtesy of the Tax Administration of Jamaica, right? You took the time to apply, you were qualified, but you have not collected your money. Please, folks, collect your money. The deadline to do so is March the 7th. If anyone listening knows someone who applied for the reverse income tax credit in Jamaica and they got approved and you know they haven't picked up their money, please impress upon them the importance of getting the money, because if they're not pick it up, it goes back into the coffers. All right. So thank you so much to everyone listening online. And this is where the internet radio live stream comes to an end. See you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, when we have another wonderful episode. Take care. Goodbye. All right, YouTube Live, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for hanging out with me here. Thank you for the engagement. You too have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day. And this is where the comes to an end. I want to wish you all the best, and we'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. All right. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day. Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real-time news updates, in-depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go-to source for staying informed and connected to the world. Coffee in Tow is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House.